Larry.
So actually, if you want to start here,
That cracks me up.
and when you get to here,
If you see anything up
you
there,
go
it's
through
good.
all
It's
this
good.
you
Let's
want,
scroll over.
and
Just
then
do
go
it.
to quote here, and then when we come out, we go to 10,
Yeah.
which is a big option. Right? And then from there, we can go back to the work section. Okay? So it's up to you how far down you want to go. If you just want to do this. Yes, we're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Executive session.
Yeah, so if you want to at least go through here, and then we'll go straight to executive, we can tell, deal with the rest of the later.
I have 6:30. You have 6:30?
Yes, sir.
We have 6:30, so we'll call this city council meeting for July the 6th, 2026 to order. Have a roll call.
Ricky Jones.
Pete Kozlowski.
Kelly Knapp.
Stephen King. John Taylor.
Lisa Sharp.
We're all here. Present, have a quorum. We're gonna go out of order. We're gonna go, we'll have our invocation, then we'll do our pledge, and then we're gonna jump to a quick executive session, and then come back and go to the work session.
Yes, sir.
So if y'all join me in our prayer, please. Dear Heavenly, by the way, so thankful to be able to gather here today and represent this community, this city, as we try to make plans for the future. And so thankful for the people that came to help us with that tonight. And we ask that will be with each and every one of us, that we'll be able to make good decisions for our community for the future. We say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas, on Donald Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Next week.
So with that, we're going to, like I said, jump straight to the executive session. We're going to recess to executive session, discuss matters relating to real property pursuant to 551.072 Texas Government Code, deliberation of economic development negotiations pursuant to 551.087 Texas Government Code, discuss personal matters pursuant to 551.074 Texas Government Code, discuss IT network or critical infrastructure security pursuant to 551.089 Texas Government Code, and to consult with the city attorney pursuant to 551.071 Texas Government Code. The council may go into closed session at any time when permitted by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code or Chapter 418 Texas Tax Code. Before going into closed session, a quorum of the council must be present. The meeting must be convened as an open meeting pursuant to proper notice. The presiding officer must announce that a closed session will be held and must identify the sections of 551 or 418 Texas Government Code authorizing the closed session. So we'll be going into 551.071, consultation with the city attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act regarding to economic development.
Lisa, I'll call you whenever we get
6:33.
there. Okay?
Sorry about that.
Do you want me to repeat that? We're back from executive session at 6:42. We'll move to number 10, return to open session. And at this time, we'll take no action from our executive session meeting.
That's correct.
So now it's 6:43. We're going to pause the regular session and go into the work session.
Yes, sir.
So we have another quick roll call.
Ricky Jones.
Pete Kozlowski.
Kelly Knapp.
Stephen King.
John Taylor.
Lisa Sharp.
We have a quorum, all right. We're striking number 2 off the work session and move right into number 3, receive a report and hold discussion regarding proposed fiscal year 26-27 annual budget.
Thank you, Mayor. So Mayor and Council, as you know, we are going through our budget workshops this time of year. And in your area should be a hard copy of the PowerPoint that we're going to go over this evening. As you'll notice there, the departments that we're covering tonight is Public Safety, City Council, Administration, City Secretary, Water Fund, Wastewater Fund, Solid Waste Fund, and then FTEs and salary adjustments. So that's what we will be discussing as part of the work session presentation. But for now, we're going to start off with Public Safety. I've asked both the New Fairview Fire Rescue and the Justin Fire Department command staff to be present, and they are at the meeting. Yeah, they are at the meeting. Sorry, I didn't see Carlos back there. So I'm gonna ask them to come and talk to you. I think this is a perfect time for the departments to come and visit with you, tell you what have been some of their challenges and their accomplishments this year, calls of service and other statistics they might want to share, as well as gives you an opportunity for them to hear from them as to what their plans are for next fiscal year, what their needs are, and then as we refine our public safety budget, you can let me know what you feel comfortable putting into the budget. So with that, I guess we'll get started with, it looks like New Fairview Fire Rescue. Who's doing the presentation? All of you? Some of you? Okay, Chief, I'm going to let you introduce your team and take it away.
Mayor and Council, good afternoon. Thank you for having us and giving you guys this time. Chief Cordero, this is Chief Wingate, Assistant Chief, and this is our Treasurer, Andrew Martinez. We'll go ahead and get started. So some accomplishments that we have gotten done this year. We were able to acquire our new to us engine 226. It's a 2006 KME pumper. It's got 1,000 gallons on it, 2,000 gallon GPM pump. It is in service. We're waiting and trying to plan out our push-in ceremony, so hopefully very soon we'll be sending that out to you guys. Then we also were able to, we received a grant last year for a large brush truck that is currently being built right now. It's actually in the paint shop, getting the new paint colors and everything, and that should be getting delivered the end of July. So it's a F600. It'll have 600 gallon water tank on it with a 10 gallon foam cells and 300 Hale motor on it. So it'll be a pretty capable truck, and it'll also bring a little more youth into the fleet that's aging quickly.
Some other accomplishments that we had this year, or in 2025, was we actually started our own in-house fire academy, working towards getting all of our guys fully certified. We graduated the first class in January, and then last month, at the beginning of June, we started our second class. First class graduated with 4. We kind of kept that one small to figure out all the kinks and issues we were going to have in it. Went off without any kinks, surprisingly. Second class, now we started with 9, we're down to 8. And we're hoping to finish all of them out. They should graduate out come October and be fully certified. They'll be ready to go sit down for their test, and then they'll be eligible for their TCFP certification as well as their SFMA certification. We also we did a deployment with TIFMAS earlier in the year. That was into February, beginning of March. We're working on doing some more deployments through that and everything, helping out across the state where we can, when our resources allow for it.
So here's another big thing we did. I know that, again, I'm Andrew Martinez, I'm the treasurer. We had quite a bit of debt from our situation last year with our previous chief. We actually had $103,000 in debt that we owed to various organizations. We actually paid it all off. I think we were done by November of 2025. So when we kind of got the department back and started taking care of our debt, it took us around 11 months, but we paid back. Our total balance was $103,000, and we paid $79,000 to get that all the way down. So we returned $24,000 of gear that was purchased, that was returned back to Casco, and the rest of it if you can see on the screen, is what we paid back. So we managed to get out from underneath that and clear our ledger of that debt that we had incurred without our knowledge, so.
These are some of our reports from 2025. And you'll also see here, I've started calculating in the 2026 calls as well to show increases. So last year in January, we were running 28 calls. This year we ran 51 in January. The increase is crazy across the board in most months. We've only had 1 month so far that's been lower. And then 4th of July, like everybody else, we were insane this year compared to previous years. This is just going over the total man hours on calls. Calls are taking longer. We got more guys responding to calls now, so our man hours are increasing.
So this is our current funding overview. So there you can see our general allotments. So we have, currently we're getting $8,000 from the city of New Fairview, plus an additional $3,000 that was agreed upon. That is for our KW pumper, which we have in service right now. And then, of course, from the county, we get another $59.95. So we do have a monthly shortfall, which I'll get into. A lot of that goes into our aging fleet and our maintenance and repairs on the trucks that we do have right now. This is a monthly expense breakdown too. I know it's kind of small to see on the screen, but this is our set amount. So our current budget right now is $86.91, and that's with incidental. So some of these things are fixed costs, like our insurance, those are fixed costs, but then we have budget for fleet repair and maintenance, medical supplies, station repairs and maintenance, and then of course we have our loans at the bottom. And then here's our actual shortfalls. So we have 3 things that we're really looking at. That's the aging fleet. Our current fleet average is 14.5 years. We also have some gear compliance issues with older gear that the firefighters actually currently have. And over the past 7 months, we actually were averaging about $3,300 a month instead of $500 a month for vehicle repairs and maintenance. And that's due to our aging fleet. And I'll show that in this next slide. So if you want to talk about the repairs and maintenance part.
So this goes over all of our repairs. This is the aging chassis. This is going into the brush trucks, the engines, the engine 1, and then getting, it doesn't go over that, but we have electrical problems that are starting to arise with 20-year-old brush trucks that have been just abused their entire life. Pump problems. And a lot of this stuff, luckily, we're able to get on emergency grants and get reimbursed to us. Luckily, Grayson's able to fill out a lot of those grants for us and get the money reimbursed, which is able to actually keep those trucks in service and keep us afloat. This just goes over the years, the age of our trucks, averaging 14.5 years across the entire fleet. Brush 1 was out of service for 2 months. We did get a grant for that, emergency grant. That one was $6,500 to replace the pump on it. Pump went out during whenever the tornadoes came through. We had a lot of grass. We had a couple fires and the pump completely got shot on that. So we were able to tie it into calls, which were then able to get the emergency grant reimbursed it back to us. So that truck is back in service now. This is going over kind of a couple options that we're wanting to try to pursue this year on getting a second new brush truck with the new Brush 1 coming. So you have option A, which is a new chassis cab, and getting this built through a vendor. So it's going to be $202,000. It's going to be significantly easier, and it'll be a brand new truck with 0 miles on the chassis. Or option B, getting something with low miles on it and going through ourselves and doing a lot of work in-house, and that saves us roughly $102,000. Option B is the option that we would recommend that we're going to try to go for. this goes over our gear. So 14 of 22 roster members are operating with gear that is either already expired or it's expiring within the next year. Per NFPA 1850, all gear has to be within 10 years of age. That being said, with that, we're operating in, 9 years old gear or older than that. We have a couple options at the bottom, which is going through and replacing just the gear for the people that are either about to expire or already expired. That comes out to roughly $70,000, or going through, and option B would be going through and replacing everyone's gear, which is 22 sets of gear, comes out to roughly $110,000.
Another issue that we run into very frequently is we don't have a lot of handheld radios. So each officer has a handheld radio, and then we have 3 handhelds at each station. We did recently get a couple of ones given to us cheaply from a neighboring department who just upgraded theirs, but it's still a massive shortfall. We're aiming to put 1 radio per seat in each of the engines, and then slowly working our way to getting a radio per seat in our brush trucks. Brand new radios right now are anywhere from $5,700 all the way up to $12,000 for a handheld. It's ridiculous. And then we're finding some used ones though that are 1 or 2 years old for about $2,000 a piece. This would allow each person on scene of a structure fire to actually be able to get out of Mayday if that situation ever arises, and to be able to hear what command is wanting, and then also relay information back to command as to what's going on with fires.
Can I ask a question about interoperability?
Yes, sir.
So with these radios, are you actually able to connect to
These ones, yes.
people in Denton County?
Yes, sir. With these ones here, we only have 4 handheld radios that we can interop with. Those 3, yes, we have 1 break. We have 3 handheld radios that we can interop with Denton County. And it's not even just Denton County anymore that's running the 7800. Parker County just switched, and Montague is actually talking about switching as well.
The 4 Wise County?
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll pretty much have to have a dual band or a tri-band radio in order to communicate with any of the neighboring counties within probably the next 2 years. Your reaction's the same reaction that I had when I heard about the Montague County. We're good to go to the next one. Does anybody have any questions for us in regards to anything? Yes, ma'am.
So you currently have a 22 roster, is that your goal? Or what's your goal?
Our current roster for members is 22 at the moment.
Are you planning to not grow anymore, or?
We would love to grow more. The issue there is we start getting into even older sets of gear.
Right, that's what I was asking, like if we're gonna entertain the idea of re-outfitting the whole roster, then what would your max number need to be?
Ooh.
If the whole world was possible.
It's hard to pre-order gear for people that you don't know because they have to be sized.
Yeah.
So
But there can be a budget for it.
right. You know, I get it.
Just curious what the roster, in a perfect world, we'd like to have 30, we'd like to have,
I would say probably the perfect would be anywhere from 25 or 30, and then having an allotted amount of roughly $5,000 or $10,000 a year in case we get those 2 guys, because usually how we operate is we won't spend, because it is a lot of money per guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't go and spend that money up front until they get off of probation. And we have been going through and like changing some of our operations standards of, instead of someone just coming off the street and now they're able to run calls, they actually have rookie books and stuff now. So they whenever someone is running a call now with us come the end of July, they will at least know how to complete the basics of a rookie book, which are stuff like deploying a post bed, reloading it, gearing out, and just the essential things that a firefighter needs to know in order to keep himself and his partner safe.
Of course.
Yeah. I am very supportive of trying to help support the fire department, but from looking at the numbers, that looks like you're asking for about $250,000 to $450,000, and I can tell you right now that's probably not going to happen.
And we understand we're more kind of showing you what we are. This is what it is if we are going to replace everyone and get everyone into compliance. But Of course, those would be, because all gear, we've been talking to a couple different manufacturers, and there's financing options available, and financing out gear that, for you finance it out for 10 years or something.
No, and I understand that, and I realize that some of this is gonna be financed, but overall, like, as a total sum, it's gonna be quite a bit of money, and so, with some of the gear, like if, and I understand the situation that you're in, but why did you return all the gear that you had if you're running off expired gear? Because I know you had paid off a lot of your things fairly quickly. Wouldn't it work with you to try to come up with a payment plan?
So with that, it was the equipment that we did return, those were SCBA packs, and it was only 3. So going that route, and they were also he was buying the top of the line. Even our current structure gear is 1 tier below the most expensive globe gear you could buy. So with the options that we're looking at is, we recently went to the SFMA conference and spoke to a lot of vendors and got a lot of contacts made. And there's options way cheaper they have the same shell, they have the same capability, they have the same warranties as the globe gear. Some aren't quite as comfortable and some are actually more comfortable. And so we're looking at, what is it? The gear? Inotech?
Yes.
Inotech, compared to Globe, set of Inotech, we could buy 2 sets compared to 1 set of Globe gear. So those are the options, and then also going through that route in, sorry, you were asking about SCBAs.
Well,
The
no,
SCBAs
actually, I
were-
wasn't. I guess I misunderstood because I thought when you said you had gear that you returned, but they're SCBAs.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
just-
it was 3 sets, so it's not even enough to outfit a truck. And in order to start to transition to new SCBAs, we need to outfit the entire truck before moving over. You don't want to have half of it be this brand, half of it's this brand, or half of it's
Oh,
this
no,
style, and half
I
of it's
completely
the other
understand
style.
that. I just misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you had returned gear, not SCBAs.
No, sir.
So I misunderstood what you had said.
We did have a neighborhood department, ESD3. They donated 11 MSA bottles to us, or MSA packs and bottles. So we're going to slowly work through. Right now, we're training on them, so all of our guys are aware of how it works, because they are significantly different than we currently run what's called Scott packs. They are a lot different than that. So we're working through and training. Every training that we are doing is in MSA, so our guys can get used to it, learn how to put the pack on, learn how to do all that. And then once we get through that training curve, we have enough packs to outfit the trucks that are currently outfitted in Scott, and then the Scotts, the ones that are still in service life, we're gonna put those on like command vehicles or brush trucks, tankers, stuff that aren't first due on a structure prior.
Gotcha. And I know that the proposed ESD, and there was, some, how is that gonna affect all this?
So that's very up in the air right now. As far as I don't know if they're gonna even pass it through the county commissioner. But as the city and as our organization, we don't plan on signing us and our equipment over to the ESD, so we would still operate. Even with the ESD, we're still gonna have county portions that we need to cover outside of the ESD.
Okay, because I read a story that made it look like you guys were, you and Newark were kind of the ESD, so.
So it is because we are, our county portion, we're a county department. So that side is, they can't just like, hey, we're gonna contract you for this pennies on the dollar. We go into, if it becomes ESD and the vote passes, then all that county district and the departments that are within it become part of that ESD.
No, I understand that. I was just kind of curious how that was gonna go if that ended up passing.
So financially, what does that mean? Are you going to get money from the ESD?
Yes, so there'll be, from my understanding, and I don't want to talk outside of it much because I don't know too much about it yet, because right now it's in the county commissioner's hands, and I've spoke with Chief Taylor about involving us more in it because it's more, whenever y'all found out before we even found out that it was happening. So we had no idea this was coming. It was kind of like, hey, we're becoming an ESD, and either participate or not. And you guys, if you don't, you have a small sliver of just north of 4010 of county district to cover, so.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. You said you're not going to be part of the ESD, or you're turning over the department with the ESD, but you're not contracting. So if all that land is going to be, all the county area is going to be ESD, then how are you either not contracting or not becoming part of the ESD? Like, I don't, that's one or the other, is what I understand.
So the contracting side of it can't be determined now because it's all left up to the ESD board.
No, I understand that, but those are the two choices. You either contract or you become part of the ESD.
The hope would be to be contracted through them. But ultimately, it is up to, if the
Right.
board determines that they don't want to contract, then in order for the department to actually survive, we would have to go into the ESD.
Right. So, but he just said that you're not going to be part of the ESD or not contract with them. So I was confused,
So-
because that's the only options.
Yes, sir.
If there's being part of it and signing over everything to the ESD, it's because you could be part of it, but still like, because we're East Wise Fire Rescue, DVA, New Fairview Fire Rescue. So East Wise Fire Rescue owns all of the equipment and the manpower and the gear and everything, and as well as the station. So with us, like Newark, for example, Newark is signing all of that over to the ESD. Then everything is going to be owned by the ESD. We're not planning to do that, so we're going to maintain our establishment. Instead of, we're not just going to be becoming ESD, we're going to stay as East Wise, and then we would be working with the ESD essentially. I'm not sure exactly details on how it's going to work, but I know as far as signing everything over and, you know, hey, all this is y'all's now. Good luck. We don't plan on doing that.
Yeah, because I'd hate to be giving y'all truck payments and they belong to the ESD.
Yeah.
It would not go through.
Well, I mean,
Because I'd probably have to show up at night and scrape the New Fairview Fire and Rescue off the trucks myself.
I mean, I know you can't really, it's hard to say because ultimately the ESD board is going to decide how they want things to work or not. But, I mean, there is a possibility because they're either going to contract with you or you're going to be absorbed into the ESD. Those are the only options that are available. So I would probably talk to Chief Taylor and get a little more information on, I mean, obviously he can't answer those questions because it's up to the ESD board once it comes out to be, but those are your two options. So if they don't want to contract and they force you to go into the ESD, that would really be your only choice if they do it or not.
It's super hard to get any information from that because, like you said, it's all up to the board. Nobody knows who the board will be until the ESD actually passes in the ballot, in the public ballot.
Correct. No, yeah, I understand.
And then even past that point, it's roughly 6 months to a year before the county commissioners actually set the board. And then once the board is set, then once the funding comes in is generally when they start making a lot more of the decisions and everything. There's no way based off of the information and the funding that the ESD is going to get, which from what we've been told is roughly $1 million for everything. There's no way off of that you can build a station, buy trucks. Even with financing, there's no way that that's possible within the first 5 to 10 years. So it would be unwise and unfit for them to say no to contracting with us because it wouldn't make sense for the public around here, for the community.
No, I understand. I mean, we don't need to sit there and talk about what might be. I was just curious if you had a say on how that would go.
The biggest thing I can say is the plan is East Wise does not plan on selling off all of our stuff or just turning over our stuff to ESD, and we are planning on pursuing the more of the contracted side.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what's going to happen to the county payments that you have gotten?
The county payments will stay the same.
Even though your area is going to shrink significantly if we
Yes, sir.
get
So, like 20 years ago, they passed the standard on it was that the county portion will be that, so you have X amount towards fire services, and that X amount gets evenly split out between each department, no matter the size, no matter the call volume, no matter what. So even Decatur, for their call volume and their portion of their district, their county district, they get the same amount as us, as well as ESD 1 and Alvord, which a lot of them have a lot larger county districts than we do, and so those areas they still receive the $59.95 a month.
And not that I have any inside information, but I'm just guessing at this point, since if this ESD does pass, there's only one small area of the county that's not an ESD, that, I mean, that is always subject to change if they decide to, so, again, I don't know anything other than my own opinion on this, but, they could be looking to get rid of that just because everything will be an ESD now.
So is there any restitution being paid from?
So it's been in a very big stalemate. You're talking about Arnie, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's been in a stalemate.
I was trying not to.
I've talked to someone about potentially hiring a lawyer that's gonna pro bono it. So we're working on that. If that does go through and comes together, then we'll be able to actually go after him a little more aggressively, because right now our attorney is the district attorney. So district attorney's wrapped up in, first it was the little girl, and now it's a triple homicide that happened recently. So it's we're just kind of getting put on the back burner because it's white collar crime instead of
Crime.
crime.
Gotcha.
Is there any more grant opportunities coming out to help pay for this?
We are in for the SAFER grant. We're in for, or not SAFER, sorry, the FEMA, the AFG grant. On that site, MSA has helped us write a grant in on there for packs and gear. We are in for, or come Thursday, I'll be applying for Firehouse grant for roughly $25,000 in that one. And then we still have a couple of grants through Texas Forest Service that we're in through. Overall, I've applied for roughly 150 grants this year, and we've received 7 so far.
Okay.
Haven't had any no's, but sometimes they don't tell us no. They just say, here's your winners. So we're hoping every time one pops up and everything, I've got key codes set on the computer to alert me for different ones coming up that are out of the ordinary. There's National Volunteer Fire Council, SFMA both help look for grants, and a lot of the suppliers actually go and look for grants as well and are helping. So Siddons is writing a couple of grants for us as far as rescue tools and stuff like that. So we're knocking out some other tasks on the side through some other grants, hopefully, and then trying to get some of the current issues through grants also.
Awesome.
And as far as gear too, we try to work with Helping Hands, which is Dallas's all of their retired gear. The downside of that is sometimes it doesn't get quite checked properly. We've had time, and we have to drive all the way down to Waco to pick it up. So we've had times where we've gone down there and then half the stuff that we got was broken and out of service anyways. So, but we try to pursue all avenues on trying to keep our guys within the compliance. So.
Awesome.
One last question I have, and the only reason is because I'm working on a grant through my company I work for. What is your 501 classification?
C3.
C3.
Yes, sir.
Get with me afterwards.
Yes, sir.
$500,000 to $12,000.
Awesome. Any other questions, council? Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, thank you guys.
Thank you. Chief Mitchell, you want to come up and have a conversation? Next up will be Justin Fire Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thanks for having us. Matthew Mitchell, Fire Chief, Justice Fire Department, Assistant Chief Michael Turner is here with me. We'll go through some highlights from this past year and kind of lay in the path of where we're going and what's next. As you can see, last year we responded to 2,132 calls. It's the first time we've ever made more than 2,000 calls for the year. That number between city and county calls is getting closer and closer to even. When we first started many moons ago, it was, 20 calls in the city, and then the rest of our calls were in the county. As our city is growing, those numbers are getting closer. We responded to 33 calls in New Fairview. We gave mutual aid 136 times, and we did receive mutual aid 81 times. So far through this year, from October 1 to July 5th, we responded to 1,141 calls for service. Some of those highlights from last year, we went on 32 working structure fires. That is where we did deploy an attack line. 12 vehicle fires, 47 grass fires, 139 MVAs. So that number is almost doubled from this past year, which is in result of, you see the traffic and the congestion around. 14 MVAs where we had extrication, and 4 of those where we extricated 2 or more patients.
What's MBA stand for?
Motor vehicle accident.
Oh, okay, thank you.
53 public education events, and our man hours equal 245 and a half days roughly on those calls. Some of our accomplishments for 2025 fiscal year, we increased our full-time staffing by 1 firefighter paramedic per shift. Our daily staffing level is now 9 personnel plus a chief officer. Minimum staffing now raises to 7, which that allows both medic units to be staffed along with a dedicated 3-man engine company. We did take delivery of a new F550 Frazier Ford medic unit. This is the first completely new build in 15 years for our organization. We have been able to remount the others, and we do have a medic scheduled to be remounted next year. This does now provide a dedicated reserve medic unit available at the station, unless they all break at one time like we did last week.
You better knock on something.
Last week, we could not keep anything. The heat and stuff was horrible last week for us, but it's not just us. Roanoke was in the same boat, or is still in the same boat. So, with the collaborative effort between our Jessup Community Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors, as well as City of New Fairview and City of Justin, we purchased the 2010 Pierce 100-foot Quint unit. We brought it out. I think most of you saw it earlier. It has a 2,000 GPM pump on it and a 300-gallon tank. This does increase our aerial operation capabilities from 75 feet to 100 feet. So the question was raised earlier of how far can that reach? Well, realistically, it's supposed to reach 10 stories, but it all depends on your setback. So you're looking between 5 and 7 comfortably. We do have 3-story apartments in some places. This truck is also going to increase our storage area, as firefighter actually talked about earlier. Rope rescue, high angle rescue, swift water, extrication, all that stuff. It's basically a bigger toolbox on wheels. So it has made its first structure fire. You see it on the right side there. It's an industrial fire at Crestwood Gas Facility this past week. Chief Turner was in command of it. They had the piece right there underneath the ladder. They had to cool that from the top. They could not force entry into that. So that was Quint 572's first run. It will go to Station 2 and serve out there. Along with collaborative effort again from our board of directors, the City of Justin Economic Development Corporation, and the sale of an older wildland apparatus, we purchased a used Type 6 wildland / SWAT apparatus. This unit will be utilized as a small brush truck as well as a TIFMAS deployment rig. It can be utilized as a squad where we throw a couple of air packs, we throw a little bit different hose on it, as well as some extrication tools. And it can be a first out, just go on anything kind of vehicle. This truck, and I think we talked about it earlier, we're in this truck for between $20,000 and $25,000 total for this little purchase. Other accomplishments, we implemented the usage of LifePak 35 cardiac monitors on all 3 ambulances. We actively participated in 19 TIFMAS deployments across the state of Texas. From the morning of July 5th for the next 8 weeks, we had a minimum of 2 people. At some point in time, we had 6 people down at the Kerrville floods. We've had multiple personnel complete driver operator courses, aerial operator courses, instructor 1 and 2, as well as inspector classes through the TCFP. And I don't know if we were at the right place, if this was a promotion or demotion, but myself and Chief Turner have both been appointed. I'm the director, or the North Branch Regional Coordinator for TIFMAS, and Chief Turner is the assistant director, assistant coordinator. So I really don't know yet, but we are very, very involved in the TIFMAS program. I'll let Chief Turner talk about Fire Station 2. I will like to thank him. This has been absolutely his baby. He has done a wonderful job, and if you haven't built a fire station or any other kind of public building, safety building, or public building in general, it is a daily, sometime hourly, sometime every minute, it takes something. And he has done an exceptional job, and it's wonderful, and it's coming along nice, but he'll talk to you about Station 2 and then some fire marshal stuff.
So obviously everybody knows where it's going to be, right there on 407. We chose Crossland. We picked them because the three or five people live within our fire district. A little bit more buy-in with those guys. I guess he's the main head guy for Crossland. He lives in Avery Ranch, so he drives by 2 or 3 times a day. Those guys are great, wonderful to work for. They're doing a great job on it. They had the completion date for the end of October, but with our weather doing great, they've actually bumped it up to handing us the keys September 28th. So we're kind of rushing out to get some stuff done. I think they said today air conditioner should be on. All the doors up. You'll see the roads connected to, or the approaches connected to 407 here in the next week or two. The bay doors put up and all that stuff. So once we get all that done, we'll start getting those guys in there, getting the equipment set up, the radios online and all that. Here's some pictures of it. It's coming along pretty nice. It's lots of room. So got all of our workout equipment ordered, recliners, beds, all that good stuff. So
Jared's ready about the recliner, I promise you.
Crossland, actually, they texted us today and they said they found us a pretty sweet smoker that they're donating to us, so that's going to help. That's about it on Station 2. As far as fire marshal stuff, just for me, for the city of Justin, we did 35 inspections last year. That was just on new builds. That's not counting old grandfathered buildings. We're not to that point yet. Hopefully this year we'll start working on that. I worked with 2 stores, had a couple of anonymous calls worrying about the fire and life safety on 2 stores. Worked with them pretty close. They were able to stay open and get everything knocked out that we asked them to do. So it's a lot safer to go in there now. I tried counting them, but I couldn't. But I believe I averaged about 15 planner views a month for everything that we've got coming in. I investigated 3 structure fires within the city limits. Dayton County Fire Marshals do outside of there. Worked with Dayton County Fire Marshal's office. They were actually able to hire a new fire inspector for our district, so we were able to go out to all the businesses in the county and get Knox boxes installed so we could have access to those. Went to the Tarrant County Fire Marshal's Conference for a week, learned quite a bit there from those guys, getting networking through them. And then I also completed the Fire and Life Safety Educator 1 and 2 for TCMP to start working on public heads classes and things like that. So for 2026, some goals is to implement a full-time administrative captain position. This officer hopefully will help me take a lot off my plate. Starting to work with Chief Grayson Wingate on implementing some fire codes here in Fairview. We're also changing, I believe, Thursday, getting them approved through our city to go to 2024. So that'd be a plus. And then working on some pre-plans, and then, like I said, implement the yearly inspections with our on-duty crews and the fire marshal on the captain's spot. So. Along with that, I'm working on our new report management software. Currently, right now, we're using ESO, and it's just not doing what we needed to do, especially on the back end with the data and everything. So we're working with First Do. That'll allow us to do everything you see there. Future modules that we're going to bring in is the fire investigation, the fire prevention, incident command, and then the community connect. That's a big one that I want to do. It'll let residents and commercial come in and create their own profile and pretty much help us create our own pre-fire plans, put information in there. So that'll help a lot of bit in the future. So,
That'll be huge.
oh yeah.
I got involved with that in McKinney. I update our chemical stuff with McKinney Fire Department quarterly when I was there.
So we went to the ESO, 3 years ago, and because we had data truck checks in here, we had incidents in here, we had training logged in here. So we went to ESO because we had 99% of it under one roof, and one app, and one program. And it worked well until ESO, I guess their salesmen were really good salesmen, and then they didn't hire enough people on the backside, as Chief Turner was talking about, to help us. I mean, he still has had an email for 6 months asking to how to get proper data out from the reporting software. So it's horrible. So when we were at the Fire Chiefs Conference back in April, we just walked into the First Due booth. Actually, I think she said something to us, and when we walked over there, this lady, the salesperson is from Ponder, we got to talking. She's like, just give me a shot. And then we did, and then one of our other captains, he's a full-time captain at Fort Worth. Fort Worth Fire Department's used First Due for like, 2 years, I think. And even their admin guy, that's all he does. He's a huge nerd, and that's all he does is take care of First Due stuff. He's offered to help us, so we're going to make the move again. We hated it because we got firemen trained. They got really good at ESO, and now you got to do everything again on a new platform. But Chief Turner's been on board and stuff, and the stuff we're seeing, we're able to have the CAD, your fire report, your EMS report, and then we're able to pull run report and more data, because everything is data driven. And right now it's horrible and frustrating. So,
What does your fire prevention module cover?
I haven't looked into that one yet. I'm hoping to get all these other ones online. Everybody trained up on it before we jump into more. So once I get closer, then I'll start doing more research on it.
one thing they have said is it's kind of, you can build it how you want it, just like everything, all the other platforms or icons in the platform, is you kind of build it to your needs. So it's going to be a fine line between new builds and then, like he's talking about, the pre-fire plans and all the old construction that we have, to where we're making site visits, we're getting guys in buildings and seeing what it is, and we build it from there. Some other goals for us in 26, like you talked about, implement a full-time admin captain. Chief Turner was hired as a fire marshal and the assistant fire chief. And as you know, our growth is increasing his demand drastically, to the point where I need him back doing higher level assistant chief stuff as well. And I will say that y'all are about to see some of that same growth. Is you get new construction around here, plans, reviews, inspections, stuff like that. So the goal is to help with both communities with this position. And then they'll also, we'll be able to reduce that fee some, because they'll help with TIFMAS reimbursement packets. TIFMAS has introduced a 5% admin fee to every reimbursement packet. So the whole packet that we do, the whole amount that, say it's $185,000, well, we get 5% of that for an admin person to do that. So we'll automatically, I mean, it's feast or famine with the deployments, but that will be earmarked to assist and pay for this position. Also, increased staffing for Fire Station 2. We have applied for a SAFER grant for 15 personnel for a mere $4.862 million. That include 5 firefighter paramedics per shift. One of those would be a captain, one of those would be a driver, and then 3 firefighters or tailboys. This will allow a dedicated second engine and second medic company staffed. So the goal is to not reduce the staffing at Station 1. It is to leave that there and increase staffing, just because, I mean, we call it the J-Town Shuffle, but it's nothing for us to have 4 to 5 calls going on at the same time or within 2 hours.
So I mean, he came with us the other day when we had 4 running at once.
Yeah. That was the day I think they made 18.
Yeah, that was quite the day.
Yeah.
So,
Chief, how does Safer do it now as far as the funding? Because at one time it was like 100% first year, 75.
So it is a fraction now. It is a percentage. I think it's like 73 or 78% for the first year, and like 68% the second year, and then the third year you have to pay for it yourself. I'm sorry, you have it's like 25%, 28%, and then the fourth year you
And
pay
the
for
fourth
it.
year on the hook
Yes.
for all of it. Okay.
So it's not boom, but they put a weird percentage number to it. It's still along the same lines. It's just not as cut and dry. It's a little bit reduced. Instead of that first year, 100,000, because what they were finding out is several departments, especially in the Northeast, were getting a Safer grant and using it for a year, and then they would either disband, or they would go join an ESD, or they would do whatever, so that the government was paying for their staffing for a year and getting them through it, and then, well, bye, you know, so. We're also going to continue our professional development and leadership development for each personnel. We're also going to be implementing to where we start doing some train the trainer stuff, to where these guys are having to train us. The hardest thing you can do in the fire service is train your own peers. They've been working on professional development and leadership stuff the last 2 years. Now we're going to add another trick to it, to where you're training, to where hopefully these guys are coming and helping neighboring agencies train. Another big one on the horizon is locate, property, build, or utilize an existing building for Fire Station 3. It's no lie that we need something on the far west side, like on South Canyon Road, somewhere along those lines, to help our western, southwestern help get over here quicker if need be. That goal is just to reduce response times. I mean, because you're looking at that far southwestern corner off 114, you're looking at sometimes 18-minute response time just due to traffic. And that's not our fault. That's not our guys' fault. That's not the people calling 911 fault. It's just traffic. So, any questions? I think John and I talked, and Chief Turner, when we met, we talked about leaving the monetarily value the same that it has been this past year for the readiness fee. And then we also leave the contribution to the ladder truck the same as it was last year. And then we talked about trying to seek 50% of the admin captain fee for that position, and then bring them online halfway through the year. In that time frame, like they talked on the fire marshal stuff, he thinks he can be able to handle that if need be. And if we can hire him in 3 months or 4 months, if we have the funds, that'd be great. But worst case scenario, bring that admin captain on 6 months into the year, and then we keep that joint effort like we've been doing between New Fairview, City of Justin, our board of directors, and this is just the next. Last year we worked on the ladder truck, and everybody chipped in and worked, and you saw it tonight. The next thing on that biggest need is beefing up that fire marshal side. And then we'll work on this next budget year, Justin picking up part and New Fairview picking up part for that position. So that's where we're at for our budget request. And we leave those other readiness fee and the others the same if y'all can help us. And don't get me wrong, we're responding to more calls than we ever have before, but it is what it is.
Council, questions?
Questions?
Okay, we will be having a discussion. We were going to have a work session today on the proposed upgrade to our International Fire Code, but we're not ready for that discussion, so we'll try and tee it up for the next meeting. But that's part and parcel to what Chief Mitchell was just referencing, and that is we're trying to line our fire codes up with what Justin's doing, as well as some of our policies and procedures, so that it's easy to have, at some point, hopefully, a fire marshal will be able to come in and either help us with plan reviews, inspections, and/or arson investigation that need comes up at some point too. And everything will be the same as what is next door in Justin.
And that is just for the new Fairview city limits. I don't want any confusion between Wise County and that
Right.
kind of stuff. Just,
Yeah, no, we're just still on the hook right now for taking care of our city. Depending on what happens with ESD 5, we'll have that discussion later as to what we're gonna do regarding ETJ, including if we're gonna be on the hook to take care of the mud down here, we will be having discussions with the mud and negotiating a contract to help pay the cost to cover service out there. And then depending on what happens with New Fairview Fire Rescue, if they end up becoming part of the ESD or not, we'll have that discussion. As you know, we are currently under, as I told you all during our retreat, we are doing a joint fire study with the City of Justin Fire Department, and New Fairview Fire Rescue is helping in as well to try and determine what some triggers might be or when we're going to make a decision on our future fire needs. And once that study's done, any idea when you think they'll be completed with that study?
I'm thinking probably because they're coming to, they have all the reporting information from both us and New Fairview Fire Rescue. They're processing that now. They're doing on-site visits the 21st, 22nd of this month. My hope is by the 15th of August, but I don't, I mean, September 1 realistically, but I think Dave and Jim have some ideas, or they might be able to throw some nuggets our way if need be for big budget items, that kind of thing. But I would think the official report, because I mean, I'm pretty sure the last time we did it, they gave us, we needed some information for something, and they gave us some stuff a couple of weeks before we got the official
Okay.
executive report. So I will say, just from what we have dealt with Denton County Emergency Management and all their stuff, and trying to grab those muds and everybody fighting over the muds in Denton County, I will say, and Jared has been, and Matt Sear have been wonderful about this, but the more you can bring those muds into the city, the cleaner and better it is. That's been our experience, would you say? And if you need a reference, Chief Heath Hudson with Pilot Point Fire Department over in the far northeast corner, they've had almost 100% of the muds in their fire jurisdiction come into the city of Pilot Point, and it's cleaner. It helps the city, the services. It helps the citizens get better, consistent services, emergency services. So that's our take, is anytime you can grab those muds and bring them into the city, it helps everybody in the long run. So.
I did have one question. With the additional position, if we're contributing that, are we gonna get or what's the timeline for the annual inspections? So we're getting a little bit of revenue off of those for commercial stuff.
Annual, that's what I've been trying to figure out for Justin too. So
Okay.
hopefully this, like I said, this next year, we'll start, get all of our report management software stuff done, and then start pushing out inspections to the on-duty guys.
Okay.
We don't do annual inspections.
We don't do them right now.
Just,
That's another, that's been on the list and it keeps going.
yeah.
And, but I mean, you will see some impact fees from your plans reviews and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I think you already had the fee schedule established, and that it was, yeah, it was just sent out and passed, so and you will see a little bit of that. But the annual inspection, man, that's uncharted waters. He's about to tackle it.
How much would 50% be?
Between, what do we say, 50 to 55,000, I believe. You're looking at right at 100 to 112,000 for a full-time position with benefits. So that's ballparkish, and we already have vehicles. So we purchased our previous 2 command trucks back from Enterprise Rent-A-Car, our lease program. And we got 2 vehicles for very, very, very cheap. They actually misquoted Chief Turner's truck, and we bought it for $400. But we got the check signed and done before they could fix it. But we have those vehicles with the vision of either needing for a fire marshal, or there's some more TCFP rules and regs coming down on bunker gear, contaminated bunker gear at a structure fire. It has to be either in a concealed container, aka a Rubbermaid container, or it can be in the back of a truck with nobody in it. So we have these vehicles ready to go for either purposes, and we're not having to spend $250, $300 on Rubbermaid containers every time we have a fire. Or if we get this in fire marshal position, it's go, get in that truck and go do your thing. So we have laid the groundwork on the backside, and that was the 501c3 that helped us purchase those. So once again, that's a joint thing between all three entities working together hand in hand as we grow. So.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
So, Mayor, if you don't mind, we can hold off and the rest of the budget discussion, we go back into regular meeting and knock all that out, and then we'll come back for a work session discussion for the budget.
Okay. So,
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
thank you all. At 7:39, we're gonna temporarily leave the work session and go back to the regular session.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll start with announcements and special recognition.
We do not have any this evening, Mayor.
City Administrator report,
I do not have anything to report, sir.
public comment,
We have none, sir.
consent agenda. All matters as consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. An item can be removed from the consent agenda by the city administrator, mayor, or any member of city council and will be considered after approval of the consent agenda. The two items, we approve the city council meeting minutes from June 13th and 15th, and B, approve the May and June 2026 financial reports. Whenever y'all get through scanning that, and if someone wants to make a motion, feel free to go ahead.
It's not there.
Here, Joe, can I get in?
No, I'm trying to scan, no, I'm in.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to scan it, but it keeps moving every which way.
Good job on this evening. Love it.
Very much.
Oh, yeah, it looks great.
Appreciate you. Thank you very
The
much.
lighting's a lot better on the eyes too.
Makes us all look better.
I don't know about all that.
Oh, you're talking about, he is gonna come back and dimmers for us, so we can, if we need to dim for
Oh,
a
very good.
presentation.
Now, that might make us look better.
We don't have the light shining right on.
20%, it doesn't go dark.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
A motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Don't we have to make a motion on the other one?
Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll move to new business, receive, consider, and act on an ordinance 2026-07-01-143, amending the fiscal year 2025-26 budget of the city of New Fairview to correct fund numbers for the special revenue funds.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn this over to Susan Greenwood and to our Finance Director, Tam Beatty, who I believe is online, so that they can explain to you about the budget amendment that's needed for the current fiscal year. Who started? You or Tam?
Sounds like Tan's gonna start,
Go
so
ahead,
I'll let her
Tan.
take the lead.
Alrighty. Good evening, Mayor and Council. When the city transitioned to CSA, from CSA to FundView, the fund numbering was established without considering the long-term consistency or alignment with the city's financial structure. Because the city maintains a separate Texas class investment account for each fund, staff determined that the most efficient and consistent approach was to align each FundView fund number with its corresponding Texas class account number. Since the budget was adopted at the fund level, updating these fund numbers requires a budget amendment. This amendment does not increase or decrease any budgeted expenditures, revenues, or spending authority. Its sole purpose is to update the fund numbers to provide consistency between the city's accounting system and investment account. For your reference, staff has identified each fund number that will be changed. The attached schedule includes both the current fund number and the proposed new fund number for ease of comparison. You will also notice that with the fiscal year 2027 budget, those fund numbers will be updated as well. One additional note to make is that Fund 24 and Fund 25, which is the coronavirus and the COVID fund, were both zeroed out as of fiscal year 2023, which is why they are kind of standing alone in a higher fund number by themselves. And with that, I don't know, Susan, if you have anything you want to add.
No, you said it all, Tan.
I'll take any questions.
Okay, council, any questions regarding the rearrangement that we're doing to our funds numbering?
I mean, it's just a clerical update, right? Didn't know anything, so it's, I don't think it has any effect on us at all.
But we're not concerned about getting, since we're going, we have had an 04, now we've got a different 04, now 05, we've got a different, now a new 05, that's not gonna be a problem with getting.
Right, and so this is needed tonight because when you pass this ordinance, hopefully here in a minute or two, this will go on record, so when the auditor comes to audit our current budget, we'll be able to show how the numbers have been approved by council for us to move around for the different funds.
I move to approve agenda item 8A as presented.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, passed unanimously, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Thank you, Tan.
You're welcome.
Receive, consider, and act on a resolution 2607-01-193, authorizing the city administrator to enter into a rainwater harvesting agreement with Upper Trinity Groundwater Conservation District.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. Mayor and Council, I'm happy to announce that we received our third Opportunity Groundwater Conservation grant for rainwater harvesting. I really want to commend the work from Emily Cheshire and Joshua Barnwell that put the packet presentation together that we presented to Opportunity Groundwater Conservation. In order to officially accept it, I need to sign the agreement that was sent to us. They are agreeing to fund $21,135 of a $29,200 project. Rain Ranchers, which is the next item on the agenda. If you approve this item, then on the next one we'll hopefully approve the Rain Ranchers quote, and we can get started on this project and actually get it done by this fiscal year. Opportunity Groundwater Conservation continues to be impressed with what we are doing as far as the water we're capturing and the data that we're tracking and turning over to them, that they want us to apply for some sort of award or recognition, and so they'll be sending that information to us. And in my budget discussions, I'm going to talk to you about a fourth rainwater harvest grant that we hope to apply for next fiscal year. But this grant will be for a 10,000 gallon tank, which will capture the back end of the multi-purpose building. So now we'll capture the front and the back. And we are hoping with this filtration system that we're also going to install, that we're going to be able to basically turn off the groundwater spigot to the multi-purpose building and convert them to harvested rainwater for their water needs over there. And if we land next year's grant for a 20,000 gallon tank that we want to put back here behind City Hall, we want to do the same thing here. And then if we ever get a chance to visit with Wise County EMS, Randall P. and there you go, I always be a lady's name, and Judge Clark to discuss details about them building an EMS station here. Mary had a great idea. We might ask them to go ahead and include in that construction rainwater harvest tank. So it's very, very possible that we could end up being the first municipal complex in all of Wise County, probably Denton County too, now I think about it, that's being sustained by harvested rainwater. So we're not having a negative impact to our aquifer.
Very cool.
So, at any rate, I stand for any questions you might have regarding this grant from Opportunity.
The only question I had was that you talked about the sodium, I was making sure it was potable, but then you said it has the filtration system.
It does, yes,
So
ma'am.
that'll make it potable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's awesome.
And it's the very same system, ironically enough, that Opportunity uses at their complex, because they are solely rainwater harvested complex too.
As they should.
Of course, they have, how many tanks?
They're saying it was 60,000.
Yeah, they got 10,000 tanks down there. Well, they've got like 6 or 7 tanks. But either way, it's very potable because I drank the water down there.
Does this amount include the filtration system as well?
Yes, sir, it does.
The 29 does. yes.
Yeah, the 29. We'll talk about the next item.
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve a resolution 202607-01-193, authorizing the city administrator to enter into rainwater harvesting agreement with the Opportunity Groundwater Conservation District.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
C, receive, consider, and act on resolution 2026-07-02-194, authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Rain Ranchers LLC for the installment of a rainwater harvesting system at the municipal complex.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the other piece of that equation. This is the money out. So we'd like to contract with Rain Ranchers. They've put up our other 2 tanks and done a wonderful job. And the quote they gave us is reasonable. We are going to have to do some of the site prep ourselves, but no different than what we did for the first tank out there. So we have that capability. But in total, that the quote for Rain Ranchers is $29,200. 21,135 of that's going to be the grant, and we will cover the remainder amount to Rain Ranchers.
Is this part of the, are we going to be cutting into the concrete on the side of the cement again to install the piping into it?
We're going to have a couple of cuts, are we not?
Just a couple of cuts. Our schedule will do fewer cuts this time than we had to do before.
Yes.
Because they kind of reorchestrated the way that they were piping the system to lessen the amount of cuts.
Just, you know, I know that everyone's got kind of priorities, but this time can we make sure we try to get those filled back in? Because they were there for quite a while last time and there were big holes in the middle of these things.
Yeah.
So just try to make sure we get those filled back in a little more quickly this time.
Okay.
Sounds like you twisted an ankle, but.
Almost, a couple of times.
He's not alone on that one, so yeah.
Not a problem.
So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I gotta find it again now. I lost it. I move to approve resolution 202607-02-194, authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Rain Ranchers LLC for the installation of rainwater harvesting system at the municipal complex. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Question answered. All right.
Question.
D, receive, consider, and authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Dunaway Associates on a proposal for the revision of the City of New Fairview zoning and subdivision ordinances.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll take this one. I've also asked Stephen Cook to be present to be able to answer any questions you might have. Mayor and Council, as you are aware, we have already passed a comprehensive plan that we have on our books. We continue to encounter some issues as it relates to some of our zoning and use tables and some of our subdivision regulations. And in talking with Stephen, I agree with him that we're at a point now where we need to go ahead and start revamping and updating our zoning and use tables along with our subdivision. And this is going to be a process. It doesn't happen, it's like our comprehensive plan. If you do it and you do it right, you're going to have public input, and you're going to have input from planning and zoning. In fact, we will probably be having a joint planning and zoning city council meeting, at least one, maybe two, throughout this process. It'll be a good year or so. Stephen can give you a better idea on timeline. But we're ready to go. In fact, we can actually start the conversation with planning and zoning at their August meeting. So this is not the first rodeo for Stephen or for Dunaway. As you're aware, Dunaway, they've been here even longer than I have. They've been contracting with the city since 2009, I think it was, or 2015. How long was it? 2015. Yeah, 2015. So they're very familiar with our city and the way that it's growing and some of the challenges that we've had when we go through development review. So we really need to work on this. We have some funding in this year's budget to go ahead and cover the costs, but as I said, it's going to be at least a year. So we'll wrap this up next fiscal year, so I'll add some funding into next fiscal year's budget to wrap it up. But at the end of the day, I think that we're going to need to get this done first, and then at some point we're going to need to have a discussion about the actual zoning map, and that's a whole different process that Stephen can answer those questions better than I can. So did I leave anything out that you wanted to mention regarding what this will accomplish?
No, sir. I'm available for any questions, and I can go into in depth a little bit of what our process would be if needed.
So with that, I stand for any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
How often do we do this revision or process?
So the last update was in 2009, and so it's been a little bit of time. One of the biggest things about your subdivision ordinance and zoning ordinance is the state legislature loves to start messing with it almost every 2 years. And so there are several provisions within your ordinances that need to be updated to come in line with state law. One of the quick ones is that we're getting a lot of is replats for residential property. We have a lot of lots that are 5 acres or more, and the zoning allows for a 1 acre lot. And so they're looking at trying to monetize some of their extraneous property and subdividing into smaller lots, which is allowed by the zoning. Each one of those residential lots requires a residential replat. Under the old standards, you had to have a public hearing for each one of those. Although when you do a residential replat, if it meets the minimum standards, then you have to approve it. So they have to have a public hearing. Well, the state got rid of that provision, and so now you just have to notify the neighbors afterwards. So that's just a little one out of your subdivision ordinance that needs to be updated. There's several other aspects of your zoning and subdivision ordinance. One of the biggest things that we are going to do is we're going to do a diagnostic on the entirety of the ordinance. We'll work with it on a weekly basis and answer questions. Susan is always giving me phone calls and say, hey, could you answer this guy? Because he has no idea what he's talking about. And so what we want to do is be able to make your ordinance work better for you, have better definitions, have more graphics in it to be able to explain what the dimensions mean, what the certain terms are going to be, so that when you have an applicant come into the city, that they understand what the rules are, how those rules are going to be applied, and then how they're going to get the process done through your city processes. On the flip side, we also want to make that process understandable by your staff, so that if they are asked a question, that they can immediately go, I understand that, that's where that's coming from, this is how I can help that customer right up front, because that way it is organized in such a way to do that. You do have a lot of very good provisions in the ordinance. What we want to do is make sure that those are preserved, that they are preserved the values of the community, and to make sure that we calibrate to what New Fairview is looking for in growth. We're not going to come in and just give you a cookie cutter ordinance and say, yeah, here he is. We're going to go through and make sure that each provision is going to meet what do we need to change for each of the zoning districts. We need to look at ways of clarifying definitions. We want to make sure that your definitions match from your land use table to your parking standards to the definitions themselves, so that we're using the same terms all the way through. One of the biggest aspects that we have a problem with is that with guest houses. So there is provisions now that the state requires that you have the ability to build ADUs. And so with the ADUs, your provisions have only really defined those as servants' quarters, and or only allowed for persons that live there, but there is certain limitations on what their square footage is, and it's not very clear. And there are at least 3 different locations where they're alternatively defined. And so sometimes we've had to make an interpretation of that. You don't want your staff having to make those interpretations. We want to make it clear, this is what is going to happen when you have this question come up. But the thing is that it's not going to be our determination. We're going to give you options, we're going to give you definitions, we're going to give you things and let you decide as the representatives of the community how you want to implement your zoning. So that's the interactive part of it. We're looking at going to do the diagnostic through August, and then we'll start working with your Planning and Zoning Commission for really the effort of why they are there is to help define what zoning and subdivision regulations are, and use them as your steering committee, and then we'll continue to report back to you progress that we make, have a joint workshop on the things that we're looking at before we take it out to the public. We're hoping to have a kind of a setup at the Santa Claus event in December, so that we can have, hey, these are some options that we're looking at. This is what this looks like. We're going to give them a visual cue of what changes to the zoning might look at, and give them a visual preference and say, I like this rather than that. I like this rather than that. That way we get some feedback from that and have that kind of survey information. So then we can take that back and make, again, that calibration for those ordinances so that it really reflects the values that you set forth for the community.
And then quick second question, it talks about provide recommendations for targeted updates to the official zoning map.
Right, so what we want to do is that you have a comprehensive plan that says this is kind of how we want to have lot layouts, this is kind of how we want to have. You do not have, and this was by choice, a future land use map. It was because at the time of the approval we were looking at, we didn't have as strong enough position on the availability of water, and so we wanted to make sure that there was flexibility in that as water could come. Now we have a lot stronger idea of the availability of water over time. A lot of effort being done from your administrative staff in order to get that accomplished. In order to do that, then now we can start looking at which areas can we visualize growth occurring, and then we can make a informed decision at because your Planning and Zoning Commission and you as the City Council can go and pre-zone areas because you have a comprehensive plan. And so we don't do that in a vacuum, but we can suggest some modifications, and then we can help you at a point after we get the ordinances and the details. Then you don't want to go and rezone everything commercial and then change what the commercial zoning district standards are. So we want to make those changes first to the standards, and then we can start looking at recommendations of areas that making changes to maximize the efforts for your zoning districts. We might even look at maybe creating a different kind of zoning district that hasn't been applied before in the city. So that is an option as well. So there's a lot of things that we can help with and tweak, but because we have intense knowledge of how this ordinance works, we feel like we can certainly help you. We love working in Wise County. We're finishing up a subdivision and zoning ordinance in Bridgeport that we've been working with them for the past year. That should be done by the end of the month, or end of next month. We're looking at, we have finished with Hutchins recently. If I have the opportunity to continue to work with you guys on this ordinance, it will be my 26th different municipal ordinance on zoning and subdivision ordinance I have the opportunity to work with.
Thank you.
How much did we, is in our 2025-26 budget for this? I know we talked about this time last year, and we
Yes.
put money in there.
Yeah, so I put 65,000 in our current fiscal year budget for now, knowing that it's going to go spill over to 2 different budget years anyway. So that's what I had currently, and was wanting to bring this to the council a lot sooner, but got sidetracked with water and other projects, and then just now getting around to getting this. But Stephen assures me that we can start getting some work done now to get the ball rolling, so that around this time next year, hopefully we'll be ready to bring something for P&Z and council to adopt after we've had public input.
So the 65 is already in there?
Yeah, we have 65 in there right now.
We already have that.
Yes, ma'am.
So right now, you're really just asking for,
Well, it should be spread out.
Well, it's gonna be spread out over 2 years.
oh,
Yeah, we'll have the 65 down and we'll use 30.
Yeah, so we'll use what we can of the
Yeah.
65, and then I'll carry the remaining over and finish out the balance for next year.
We'll have 30, less than 35 for next year.
well, that sounds a little bit better, because I was like 97, like just like that.
Well, fortunately, these big projects take a
That seemed
full year, so you break them out.
You pay a salary, yeah.
Over 2 different fiscal years. Yeah.
We didn't know we're gonna have a tree out back that
Makes
is
more
marked
sense.
for.
I mean, where is said truth? I could use 97,000.
No, I just keep checking, so I make sure we're there. So, this with the zoning things, and is there, and I know we're not gonna get into specifics right now, but like I know we've had some conversation about like those data centers and things. Is this type of thing that we would address those type of things?
Absolutely. We can look at the kinds of pressures that are occurring to municipalities throughout the state and say, what is the definition of those? How are we going to deal with something to that effect? Not only are data centers, but we're looking at power banks, basically. It's large battery farms of lithium-ion batteries that have been coming in, especially in more rural areas, have been looking at that. Basically what it is that they power those up and then they sell it back to ERCOT when we have hot summers. So there's all sorts of these different kinds of uses that are really not uses that are affecting your population, because they don't hire a lot of people and they don't generate a lot of sales tax, and they
That was gonna
basically
be my
are
question.
resource
Do
kinds
they
of
generate
things.
any money? Is that
So
not-
that's the thing. And so what we want to do is you have goals and values in your comprehensive plan of how you want to grow your economy, how you want to be able to serve your residents, how you want to make sure that there is continuation of jobs. Your zoning ordinance is your first end tool of that, because again, as we've talked about before, we're trying to manage your quality, quantity, location, and timing of growth. And we can certainly do that through better definitions of use types that we see are coming in. One of the things that the state, again, continues to kind of tweak and mess with every 2 years, food trucks. Food trucks are something that I know that Mr. Cabrales absolutely loves and has the idea about it. The state now has certain requirements that food trucks have to be licensed through the state. Either through a county or through other kinds of stuff. Cities have very little control over food trucks. So we got to make sure that those kinds of things reflect what the state is going through. I've got a planner, Aiden, who has been just hammering on trying to figure out ways of getting modifications to other cities' current codes. She's been working very closely with Grapevine over the last 6 months, just going through all of their codes and trying to do these little tweaks to make sure that we are managed correctly to what the state requirements are.
That's a good question.
We definitely want to kick out battery farms.
Yeah, I mean, again, 10 years ago it was personal windmills,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, those are the kinds of things that we're going to constantly kind of look at. Your telecommunications ordinance is a little bit out of date. A lot of people don't have dish TVs anymore or giant 6-foot dishes anymore. We need to update that kind of thing. So, those are the kinds of things that we're going to see that need to be updated to current technology, current standards, and be able to, again, make sure that what ordinances you have are going to be defensible. It is our job to write the ordinances based on what your policy direction is, and then we will get it checked right through your attorneys to make sure that it is defensible for them. We're not going to go and try and create new ground, but our ideas is that we want to make sure that you get the kind of policies that you want out of your ordinances.
And we'll have final say on those, right? Like you'll bring them to us in proposal and.
Oh, absolutely. You are the end all be all to all of this. We're going to give you recommendations. We're going to kind of show you some options, just as we did with the sign ordinance. We're going to go show you what it is that we're trying to achieve. We're going to try and bring as many graphics as possible so that you have a visualization. A lot of people don't understand what the difference is between a side setback, a side yard, a front yard, a front setback, all those kinds of things. We've got visualizations that we're going to put into the ordinance so that you pop that up and it's like, I know what that means.
And just so you'll know, we are going to seek public input. And in fact, I'm talking with Stephen to see if when we hold our breakfast with Santa in December here at the municipal complex, if they might be ready for us to put something that we can, maps and use tables and whatnot, that we can give to the public to react to and give us input so that we can gather all that input and turn around and bring that back to planning and zoning and to the city council. So you're hearing what the public has to say about some of this as well. That's key to something as big as this. When you're redoing your zoning ordinance and your subdivision regulations, you really need to get input from the community.
But we're going to make sure you guys understand what we're going to say to the community first so that it comes from your voice, because that's important. You're paying a consultant to help you do the job. And so that's my job, is to help you guys make better decisions, and so that when we present this information to your residents, that it is with your voice that we're speaking to them.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we're doing it that way, where we're actually at events and things where we can reach out to them, because the 8 people that responded to the survey, I don't think we need to be making huge decisions, but decision from 8 people who responded.
Or when we hold the town hall and a coffee with the mayor,
and nobody shows
up.
So. Then they have 2 people like, these 2 people don't want it, so we're not going to do it. Okay.
So,
but I'm all for this now that we've determined that we can talk about restricting certain commercial developments coming in. So.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, and I want us to enforce things consistently.
Yeah.
So I see the value in this.
Do I have a motion? Are there any more questions?
I move to approve authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract with Dunaway and Associates for $97,000 for the update of the zoning and subdivision ordinances.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
You're the second person tonight.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That's unanimous, finally.
Thank you,
Mayor Council,
Steve.
thank you very much. I really enjoy our relationship, special relationship with New Fairview. And I'm glad to continue it in this vein. Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Stephen.
So we've kind of gone around the table like you.
Mayor, who's the second on that motion?
This is
Kelly.
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 Thank you.
If you weren't over here whispering.
As I said, you're better with your ears than you can your mouth.
Well, we still have Tan on her. We were supposed to let her go. So Tan, you can go. I forgot to tell you.
Have a good night.
Or John was actually supposed to tell you, but you don't have to hang around. I'm sorry.
Text me the score. Thank you.
It's not good. Have a good
Okay,
evening.
I thought he needed me for the budget, but okay, bye.
Thank you.
So we'll go to E, receive, consider, and act regarding the Frontier Waste Solutions franchise agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. Mayor and Council, you may or may not be aware, but we have a franchise agreement with Frontier Waste Solutions. It actually started back in 2017 when the 5-year exclusive franchise was issued to Midwest Waste Services. And then in 2019, when Frontier Access LLC acquired Midwest Waste Services, they entered into a new updated agreement with the city of New Fairview, and that franchise expires on January 31 of 2027. So it's coming up. These agreements are important because who you get as your trash collection service matters, particularly if they are able to provide some additional services that you may want to have either now or in the future, within the next 5 years, in your community. As you know, here in New Fairview, we have the bare bones service. You just pick up trash and that's it. We don't have bulky items, we don't have recycling, we don't have yard waste, there's a lot we don't have. And we may not want to have it, it's not my call to make, but we want to at least have the ability to determine if we wanted to have it, what would that look like, what would that cost. If we do not send a notice of non-renewal to Frontier Waste within 6 months or 180 days, then our current franchise automatically renews. And I will tell you, our current franchise is not a very good franchise for us. Under state law, I do not need to put out a RFQ for this. I can actually start negotiating with either the current provider or a different provider. And in fact, I've already had some preliminary discussions with another company that I'm more familiar with that has a vast majority of services. But more importantly, the one thing I do know is you typically want to have a franchise agreement with a solid waste company that owns or operates a landfill. Because if you own or you operate a landfill, you know what those costs are going to be. If you're someone like a Frontier Waste, who does not own or operate a landfill, then they're at the mercy of the landfills they use, like the city of Denton or Camelot over in Louisville. And I can tell you right now, I know this from my sources in the city of Denton, they're getting ready to increase significantly the tipping fees, which is what these garbage trucks pay when they use the Denton landfill, and they're going to limit the amount of tonnage. So you're going to pay more and you're going to have less ability to take your waste to that landfill. So it means you're going to have to shop around for other landfills, and the prices are not going to go down, they're only going to go up. Well, those costs are typically passed through to the customers. And so every year, there's typically something in the agreement that they'll insist on that says if those fees go up, then they have the ability to come back and increase rates. And so that means our customers, our residents, are going to pay more. How much more, we don't know. It all depends on what they were able to negotiate as far as tipping fees with certain landfills. But if you do enter into an agreement with someone that owns and operates a landfill, you don't have those increase in tipping fees. It's usually pretty consistent with whatever option you agree to go with. Either you have a set amount that formula that you calculate that goes up each year, or you have it based on certain other factors and you determine we're going to use this instead of using that. But we'll get into those details later. So for now, the reason I'm talking to you is I'm coming to ask the council for permission to go ahead and send a letter of non-renewal to Frontier Waste before the 180 days is up, which is going to be at the end of July, so that I can basically let them know that we are not going to renew the existing franchise with them. And if you so desire, I can either enter into discussions with them to try and renew something with them, or I can go ahead and continue my discussions with the other company that I'm talking to about getting a proposal that I can come and bring to you for your consideration. Yes?
Personally, I think I would like to see an RFP and see the bids that we receive for that.
Okay, I can do that. It's going to take a lot. You're not going to have as much time to be able to react because it's going to take me a while to put something together.
I know, but respectfully, I mean, it's not your role to pick the trash service.
You're right, it's not. And that's what I'm saying.
So I'd like it to go out for RFP and receive competitive bids.
Okay.
Please.
How many companies do you feel like there are that would be available to us?
Realistically, I would say probably 4 in this area. 2 of which I think would add value to us, 2 of them would not. 2 of them would be more of a risk.
Because I'm completely open to changing, but I would like to still try to make sure we keep the junk your trunks and things like that that are beneficial. So.
Right, no, that's all can be negotiated with anyone. That's not a problem. So yes, regardless of whether we do bulky item collection in the future, I still think that we want to keep those chunk your junk events. The other thing that I found out through my discussions with other company is we can actually open up our franchise to our ETJ, extraterritorial jurisdiction. Meaning, if somebody in the ETJ wants to sign up under our franchise, they're able to do so, and we're able to collect a franchise fee with that, for that home or residence, even though it's not in our city limits. The benefit to them is if you ever lived out in an unincorporated area and you have to negotiate your own collection service, it's much pricier than if you just go under a city's franchise. So we'll be able to collect on that additional revenue that we currently are not collecting on now. Another thing that I've been asked to explore by some council members is billing. Maybe we want to start doing the billing as opposed to letting the company do the billing. One of the biggest advantages of that is we know exactly how much is being collected, so we know what the franchise fee owed to us should be. Right now, we're just getting a check written to us, and unless we pay a third-party contractor to go out there and do an audit, and they're not cheap, you don't really know if the check that you're getting is what should be the amount you should be getting, number one. The other thing is, we know for a fact, our code enforcement officer comes across it. As a matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, he came and visited with me. Apparently there is some company, I guess out of Weatherford, called Parker Waste Services. And we found out there's some residents in Chisholm Hills that all of a sudden started using Parker. Well, we've had to contact Parker and say, can't do that. We have an exclusive franchise with Frontier Waste. So they're gonna, those residents are gonna have to contract with Frontier Waste for the service, not Parker. That way we're able to collect the franchise fee that is owed to the city through this franchise agreement. So if you're doing the billing, we are able to ensure that every resident is in fact getting service, and they're getting service from us and not somebody else. Either that or we can go knock on the door and find out why they're not getting service from whoever our contracted vendor is.
Is the billing gonna be just something we can add on to the website that they can go and pay? It's not gonna take a lot of man hours for the people in here in the office?
No, it is going to take some man hours to, first of all, to get it set up. We're going to talk about that in our budget discussion. But you will be able to pay for it online.
Joan,
Once
I
we
do
get
want
set
to
up.
add that I have been in contact with Frontier. Based on our agreement, we're supposed to be getting monthly reports for the last 5 years based on how much franchise fees we're supposed to collect. To this day, we've never received a report, and I have requested back reports so I could match them with the franchise fees that we have collected. So that's another issue.
Well, you also got the addresses here,
I
right?
did, I got the addresses as well.
Yeah, so we have, what, about 600?
About 600 is all we
There's
have.
about 600 customers that Frontier Waste is servicing in our city limits.
I tell you, the billing come from me because we're gonna have to prop up a water department in Ranchland. And we're gonna be billing, we'll have to bill for that. Well, if we're already having to bill for collection of water and wastewater, we'll have to have that in-house anyway. Might as well collect that and not pay someone else to collect that money. That's just that much more. Because they'll take that fee off that trash service from us so we can make more money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, I'm just curious.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see a comparison on that, because, you know, we'll have to mail out all those, and
So
so
you're
I'd
gonna
like
be
to
doing,
see
you're gonna be doing it anyway for water and wastewater?
well, not to my house.
No.
No, but it's a flat fee. We just had a discussion with a
Yeah.
third-party company that is used by our software company, FundView, because they integrate so well. And it's a minimum fee, so if we don't bill for trash and we just bill for water, wastewater, we're gonna be paying a heck of a lot of money for a handful of customers, as opposed to if you divvy it up amongst water, the water fund, the wastewater fund, and the solid waste fund, that it's more reasonable.
Oh, so we're contracting for this initially?
Yes, sir, I think we're gonna want a contract. We're not gonna be able to do it as a staff.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
And in fact, I've got some numbers to give you when we get to the discussion and the workshop regarding our budget.
And Frontier Waste doesn't, they don't do it now. It's all contracted. Most companies don't do their own, print their own invoices and stuff their own envelopes and mail them and send them out. It's all third party.
So, I mean, I'm a little concerned that there's some concern that they're not being truthful about the fees that they're collecting.
I don't think it's an accusation, I think it's just, we don't have any verification means at this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that if we're the ones collecting, we will know, because we'll have that data at our fingertips, as opposed to having to rely on any company.
Well, what
to
reason
collect.
are they giving for not giving those reports?
I don't,
I can tell you, I haven't. I can tell you what they said. They're promising me that they will get them though. Where to list?
I'm not a fan of them anyways, and I would love to have bulk pickup at my house.
100%, like that's
I mean,
a
I think-
requirement.
I think they can add bulk pickup. I think that was the point.
It was $295 and the previous council didn't approve it, I think. So
Yeah,
that's what I read in the backup document.
So in his email, he said, I just spoke with Susan to explain why we do not provide a statement. I was waiting to get addresses before I even said anything to him for the billing. And then I went back to him and pointed out in our franchise agreement that it does state that they would provide monthly statements on the people that we're supposed to collect franchise fees with. He finally went back after I said that. It took a couple of days, but then he said, yeah, we are going to start the month of July, start getting y'all your monthly reports, and then I reiterated that I wanted previous monthly statements, and he said it will take me a little bit to get those to you, so he will provide them at some, when, I don't know.
Or will.
Frontier, and
Because
I'll
that's
tell you,
what, 5
Frontier
years, 6 years?
Yes, that's 5 years.
bulk, even for you to pass that, you would still have to put it out on the curb and call them 2 or 3 days ahead of time, say, hey, I'm gonna have this.
No, I want somebody,
It wasn't automatic, you put it out there and they show up.
I mean, it's not ideal, but
I want them to say, okay, Wednesdays are regular trash and Fridays are bulk.
It was a very bad deal, and if we.
Or whatever, something like that.
I mean,
let me clarify this. Well, yes, we did vote it down, but it's like the mayor said, you had to call and schedule ahead of time, very limited, and everyone had to pay that rate. It wasn't like you specifically paid it because you had bulk.
I understand.
So that's the reason we voted down, because we didn't like the way it was set up. So
I think they
I
should
wanted also,
charge us.
but we have to have it to where it's to the best service for our residents, and this is not the correct one.
So when we put out an RFP, can we request like bulk pricing included, like
Right.
bulk pickup pricing included?
right,
in
so
this?
what I'll do is I'll draft an RFP and I'll bring it back to council for you guys to review and tell me what you want in, what you want out.
Okay.
Now, I'm against that. And the logic is, just like you said, that if we are in a franchise agreement with someone who has more control over the dump facility, because you look at section 12 of our contract here, rate adjustment, they are fully covered themselves for adjusting the rate to the customer, to our residents on a yearly basis. So that's going to be in any agreement that we have. So just because we get a bid from someone that's low, they might not be in full control of their overhead costs. And they're going to pass those along to us. So we're in a 5-year contract with them, and they can adjust this on a yearly basis. We can't get out of this contract for 5 years.
But it would have to be in the contract, and we still have the right to decide which one we want to go with. So,
And Frontier will bid on it, and I would like for them to bid on it. I want it to be a competitive process where they come back and rebid this.
But wouldn't you like to have someone that has more control over
I don't even
the
know who we're talking about.
What?
I mean, it's an unnamed company that John knows.
Then ask John who it is.
I'm going to tell you, I've been talking to Republic,
Okay.
because I used Republic when I was in Lake Dallas, when they bought the franchise agreement from Waste Management. Waste Management was doing a great job. Republic came in and did an even better job.
I thought some of the people out there already had Republic, because I've seen it like on trash cans, I thought.
No, they're not here. I think they're in Hazlet, is I think the closest area.
In Newark.
But so,
Newark, yeah.
what would be the downfall to allowing? I mean, if that's the best company, then I'd like them to bid on. What's the downfall to seeing their bid versus everybody else's?
How are you going to decide on which bid is the best? Are you going to be going with the low bidder? or you'd be going with one who has more control over their overhead costs and may have a little higher bid.
But that's up to a discussion, we talk about it and then make the decision like everything else. I mean,
I'm not,
Yeah, no, I think the point that Steve was trying to make, and I know that he's keyed in on it, is you could end up getting a nice low bid from Frontier Waste.
I don't
But
think.
because they're gonna have to
it's
cover
low bid,
their-
I think we want the right option.
But because at some point they're gonna have to start to cover the increased tipping fees, they're gonna be able to include that in their increased cost for service. Your rates are gonna go up much higher, probably year two, than if you went with someone who's operating their own landfill.
Right. But how many times has Frontier raised the rates during this 5-year contract?
Oh, I don't know, you guys are their customers.
I don't think they have.
Okay.
But that's, the point is, anticipation of rates increasing is what we're talking about. Because there's, with this growth in this area, that there's only very limited
I
landfill
don't know.
capacity.
I completely understand that. We had those conversations previously, and Justin, it was a very big deal because dumps are telling these trash companies you can't dump here anymore in the future. So I completely understand that. I like transparency. I like RFPs. I like for everything to be out in the packet and we make a decision. So that's what
I get that.
well, and like, you know, you mentioned Waste Management and Republic, both companies operate their own landfills. And they may be able to provide us the same type of guarantees with pricing. And I don't know a lot about either of them. I know before I moved out to Wise County, I lived in Fort Worth area, where they use Waste Management, and I mean, that's all I know about them honestly. But there are other companies, like you said, that can provide those type of benefits.
The other thing, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but I believe in April, Frontier Waste sold to, do you remember the name of the company? Did I put it in my agenda sheet? Frontier Waste sold to another company, and I will tell you, we could tell, because all of a sudden we've been having problems getting in contact with Frontier Waste. Matter of fact, they billed us erroneously for a chunk of junk. They double billed us, and it took us forever to get hold of someone to be able to correct that bill, so I'm not happy with them right now. But, so, is that what the consensus council, you want me to put together an RFP and bring it back to you for you to look at?
Is it GFL Environmental?
Yeah, it was a letters,
Yeah, it's GFL.
okay.
I think more information is always a good option.
But do we need, I'm not opposed to the RFP, but do we need him to draft it, bring it to us for approval before he sends it out? Or we just have him send out an RFP and?
I think you send out the RFP.
I mean, most companies know how to put together a bid, but my specific request is I want to see bulk rates. Like bulk's important.
But, yeah, but do we need him to
I don't
bring
think
back the
so.
RFP for us to review?
No.
I don't think so.
They know how to put together bids. I mean, if they have
Just-
questions, then
yes.
you could email us about like specifically what we're looking for, but
Yeah, I don't think you need to bring it to us.
Okay.
Just.
But the overall gist is, yeah, please send a letter that we're not gonna automatically renew the contract.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. So like,
Yeah.
we need a motion.
Yeah, that's the first,
I make
yes.
a motion.
Okay, Kelly makes a motion.
Don't think that there's a motion to this.
No,
No.
It's just a
Okay.
consensus that, no, we do not want to
It's just
remove.
a mayor told me to.
I'm mainly needing a thumbs up that I can send this letter to
Yes.
Frontier Waste saying, we're not renewing our current franchise agreement.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Now, then the second aspect of it is how are we going to proceed? And I guess the consensus is to do a bid process.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't agree with that, but that's the consensus.
Well, I also think a bid process, if they know we're bidding other people, it'll help with, maybe they'll give us a better rate because they know there's somebody else bidding.
as a resident, like I expect you guys to put everything out for bid. I mean, like trash rates, those are.
Because you never know what they're gonna offer, the prices they're gonna offer, stuff like that. But I also
Not
would
bids,
like
proposals.
bulk.
There's a big difference. We want proposals.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
We do not want bids.
now, what is your definition change, in that?
Bid has got an actual state language that you have to, if you're not gonna go with the low bid, you have to justify why.
Oh, because I remember we had to justify that
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Also, a proposal, we can pick a higher
Yes.
bid
Yes.
So when Sanford
that
and Son
just
comes in low
offers
bid,
more
Yes.
product.
Yes.
I got you.
All right, very
It's
good.
a better
So,
package. package.
A better package.
Yes.
It may cost more, but it's a better package.
So it's a request for proposals.
Yeah.
Very good, I agree with that.
Okay, that's, I think I got direction, thank you.
Announcements from the council?
I won't be here next week, next meeting.
I may miss one in August, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
I just want to say a happy belated birthday to the mayor.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday,
Oh,
Mayor.
happy belated birthday.
Thank you, thank you. Announcements that I have on the, it was the 8th, now it's the 15th. John and I, along with Bridgeport, Paradise, and Boyd, are meeting to direct the county, the Mayor's Coalition platform for the 2027 legislative session. So kind of different from the counties, it'd be just for the Mayor's Coalition, for things that we want to see. And also on the 15th, one more monthly meeting for the Wise County Regional Water Plan process. I say that very sarcastically. And I had something else to share with you, and I can't find my notes. It's very important, but I guess it wasn't real important.
What about that, like, small city, program they're gonna be having coming up for, TML? Did y'all see, you see that email?
On the TML update, they're having down, I think it's the one in Round Rock or Georgetown?
It's a little itty bitty town way out west.
Oh, no. I don't
The
know.
south of, it's for small cities. I went to one a few years ago, it was really good. I was thinking about going to that one. I know that's what you're trying to think of.
It was something to do with it in the county. So we had back to school on the 25th. So looking for volunteers, if you know anybody wants to volunteer, we need volunteers.
Work that day.
It'd probably be nice.
August
hot
25th?
And muggy, no, July 25th.
July 25th, Saturday.
August 25th, they'll already be in school.
Yeah, I would help, but I work that day. But I'm sure I have some people at my house that would help, but I don't want to speak 100% for them, but I'll let you know.
And most cities on
Your
there.
household's getting smaller and smaller. so-
What do we need on this?
That's true.
It says, assistant water slides,
Yeah,
help
no.
operate fish tank game, interact and support our community, is what they specifically.
Yeah, so we need volunteers to operate the fish tank, we need volunteers to monitor the kids in the water slides, and then we need volunteers to help hand out the school supplies.
Why your girls did the fish tank?
What time was it?
Oh,
5
what's the event?
5 o'clock to 5 to 7.
7?
5:30 to 7.
5:30 to 7.
I mean, I'll be here, but I don't want to commit to something because, so I'll come and help whenever I
It's at
can.
the park, right?
Well, I was gonna ask Randall whether
Yes,
they could
ma'am.
have a unit up there like they have in the past anyway, so I
Yeah.
figured
I
whoever's
could
working here
probably-
would be up there anyway.
I could probably come out for a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna come after work, so I don't know exactly what time it's gonna be, but I've
No
also
worries.
posted it on my Benanivity site
And
for
we
jobs.
put out a request for volunteers, have we done any?
No. One parks board member, and that was it.
Well, that's true,
Yeah,
fourth board.
that was just thinking of school days.
And the city council meeting on the 17th of August, I will be out of town and not here, so.
Oh, so I probably won't miss anything. Because the Monday I'll be out of town is the Monday in between those two.
Yeah, so
Never mind.
first and third Monday, sorry.
Forget I said anything.
Yeah, I won't be here on the 23rd, we're having my father-in-law's honor guard flag ceremony that day.
And on the landfill update, everybody and their dog is petitioned for a meeting. I don't know if we'll get one, they're supposed to, by law, give us one, but they don't always play by the, they make the rules so they can change the rules to meet their needs, so. Most likely, it looks like we'll probably be getting a landfill in Buffalo Crossing. And that's all I had.
Well, who runs it? I'm just kidding.
All right, it's for construction waste only.
Oh. I was like, weren't we looking for somebody?
For the city of Fort Worth.
That's for
We
the
want
year.
one, but we don't
Yes,
want
yeah.
one.
Then we're gonna sell it and you put anything in there you want.
So Fort Worth's gonna bring their junk up here.
Nobody ever has a landfill in their own city.
Yeah, we can't use it, but it's gonna be in Wise County.
Well, that's stupid.
The big monster in Louisville on 35 is not Louisville's, if you want to go.
It's
on
Farmers
there.
Branches.
It's Farmers Branch. I guess that's all I have. I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting. We still have workshop stuff to do.
My,
You see how he has to say that, so we didn't
So
just
we don't
get
jump
up and
up and
start.
I make a motion to adjourn the regular session.
Do I have a second?
I will second as long as I can
Okay.
take a 2-minute break.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Alright, so we're gonna adjourn at 8:38 and we'll take a 5-minute recess.
What'd you say the score was?
3-1? 2-1.
3-1 now.
3-1.
That's not good.
That is not good.
Who's ball?
The US and Belgium. US is not winning.
Vegas, and Vegas had number of wins.
Yeah, I didn't think they would.
I didn't either, but Vegas had them to beat them.
Yeah, well, Vegas is wrong.
I hope they're wrong on England and Norway also.
Who the Saints gonna win that?
England. England's supposed to make it to the Final Four. England, France, don't remember the other two.
Argentina?
Argentina, yes.
And, well, Switzerland and Colombia play tomorrow, so one of those is gonna move on.
There's not enough Three Musketeers in here. They gotta find
Yeah. I've never watched any of those. All thing I remember as a little kid, I don't say a little kid, I was young. It was in the 80s. And when, what was the big drug lord in Colombia?
Escobar.
Escobar. When Colombia got knocked out in the second round and their national team flew in, Escobar and his men were at the airport and the man standing next to Escobar put a bullet hole in the coach's head in the airport.
Whoa.
And they walked away. Nobody got arrested, nobody done a thing.
Oh my gosh.
We should have won.
Well,
He probably spent millions of dollars for them to win.
you know, the coach from Brazil is in the hot seat now
Yeah.
because of the fact that he had, or it's yet to be determined he did it, or the players did themselves, but they had a different person kick that penalty kick that they didn't make. And so apparently there's going to be an inquisition now about that. Wow.
You know what, that little 17-year-old for Mexico, he's gonna be a threat for a long time.
Yeah, well, they're comparing him to Pele already.
Yes.
Being the second youngest. Pele was still the youngest by 35 days, I think, 33 days to play in a World Cup. And this guy's just 35 days older than Pele. One. I mean, person. I'll go fast.
Oh, no, the family's blowing up my phone trying to get eulogies together and all of that, so I'm trying to be respectful and.
How are they holding up? How are they holding up?
Like a military family. So,
How long was he in the military?
30 years?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a Vietnam vet, drill sergeant, so that's how they're holding up, like they were raised by those.
Which branch?
Army.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Was it unexpected or is it something that he'd been sick?
He had been, it was kind of both. Like he'd been in the hospital off and on for quite a while. We had moved him home for hospice and he was home an hour. So we were expecting it, but we weren't expecting it
So that quickly?
that quickly. So.
And your mother-in-law's here now, right?
No, currently they're, my wife and they're with her, but we will be moving her here within the next month or two.
Okay.
So, probably to Decatur. So,
Where are they living at now?
Honey Grove? Yeah, no one knows where that is. It's 3 people and 75 cows.
And it was their favorite.
Salute!
How many cows are in the city?
Yeehaw!
Takes all of them. And there's not even close, like there's like only thing like Honey Grove, Dial, Bug Tussle. By the time you get to one you might know is Paris, and that's an hour away.
Oh, I know where Paris is.
Yeah, but yeah, you're still an hour away. So there's literally nothing.
Got to figure out a way to retire in 4 years.
If you figure it out, let me know, will you?
Powerball. Fireball? I tried that Friday night on my birthday. I thought, well, that's my best luck.
No.
Didn't do so hot. Yeah.
Not even close?
Not even close.
Not even close. You got my luck then.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty high now.
I'm eligible to retire next March.
Yeah.
Can I afford to
I was
retire?
gonna say, yeah. Being eligible and being able to.
What's your rules on your retirement?
20 years.
No,
Oh.
about other jobs.
Oh, I can still work. A lot of people retire, get that money, and then go work for another police department or something.
Yeah.
And so then they have
That's
2
what-
incomes.
That's what
Now,
happened.
I could be okay with that. I could be okay with that. I'd retire from over there, start getting that money. If I retire in March, I'm only gonna be bringing home like, because remember, I started my career very late in life. So I've only got 20 years.
Things like $250.
So my check's only gonna be like 2,800. I'm gonna have to keep working somewhere else.
Yeah. My wife, she retired July next year as a teacher, and she's in the old TRS program, so she gets 50% of her the average of her last 3 years.
That's good.
Wow.
And
Which is, it's, for us, it's good, but for reality, if she lives to 75, she'll draw out nearly twice what she paid in. That's not good.
right.
And they wonder why TRS is going broke.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
And is she allowed to go on and work somewhere else and teach? Does that affect her retirement?
No, she can't do anything but teach. She can't teach she can sit out, just sit out two school years, but at least she can go back to teach.
Okay, and it won't affect her
So
pension.
if I were to retire from a county system, which is where all my money is right now,
just letting you know.
I have to wait 6 months to go back and work at another county system. However, if I went to a
Griffith
police
City.
department
Griffith City.
and went to TMRS,
Yep.
then I can do that immediately. Like I could start there the day after I retire.
I mean,
Now, I would totally do that.
she's not going in, they won't go to any system like that, she wants to you need to go to the public sector, that way, by the time you turn 62, 65, you'll be eligible for Social Security too.
Someone told me I should go
That's what we're
be an
doing.
investigator for like CPS or APS and start getting that state retirement.
I couldn't do that.
I don't think I can either. I would want to strangle people.
Yeah,
Okay.
bring them all home and put them in the backyard.
Obviously,
I've seen
you stole my
so much
cookie from me.
child abuse. Did you guys hear about?
This is definitely not yours.
The kids that were found
Is this if you stole my
in
cookie?
New York several years ago. That was me and my crew that was on it.
That was not Memphis
And
City.
that was.
Yeah, I was like,
That was pretty bad.
My dad just left, I hear his bike.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah.
You got a new one.
Oh my God, I
What a
saw
new
that
one.
out there, I was backing it out.
Yeah, that's what retirement gets you.
I don't know where he's working, but I need to work where he's working. I
I come up there and I saw that bike, and I went, who's got, I ain't got it with me. So I was checking out, and what, no, there's this pickup, who's that truck bike is it? Now I know.
Now the big pickup truck is Ricky's.
Yep.
All right, are we ready to go back to the work session at 8:49? And we'll pick up where we left off on budget discussions.
Yes, sir. Okay, Mayor and Council, you should all have this printout of the spreadsheet that I'm going to walk you through. So as we continue discussions for tonight, we're going to go over public safety, city council, administration, state secretary, water fund, wastewater fund, solid waste fund, and then FTEs and salary adjustments. Can you go to the next screen, please? So let's start off with public safety. The column on the far right highlighted in yellow, that is what we're working on so far as the proposed for next year. The far column on the left, all in red, that's the way we closed out 24-25. We don't have the final audit on that, so that's why I'm using the numbers for how we closed out the September financial report. The next column over is the actual budget that we adopted for the current year. And then the column next to that, how we've trended through the end of May, and then how we think we're going to close out the year is that next column. So same columns we've used in our previous discussions. We're talking about public safety. So the first thing you're going to notice is for 26-27, I've got proposed in there $179,024, which is up from the $129,024. That breakdown adds up to $96,000, which we currently are paying New Fairview Fire Rescue. Justin Volunteer Fire Department, we pay them $33,024. And then, as you saw from the presentation earlier today, they're trying to stand up the fire marshal services division over there, and have asked us for half of that cost, which is $50,000. For us to be able to utilize them in doing things like that we need, like planned reviews. We need somebody from the fire department reviewing our commercial development. So we're dealing with Acadia right now on a big development that they're trying to redo, that 3-story structure up there on the north end of our town. We need somebody to actually go out and inspect the renovations that are being done for, make sure it's in compliance with the fire code. We're going to bring to you updating our fire codes, just like we brought to you the discussion to update our building codes. Only we want to update, the fire chiefs want to update the fire codes to 2024, which is what Justin's getting ready to adopt. And so we'll be having a discussion with you as to what that means. We also need to revamp our Chapter 6 Code of Ordinances, which is our fire prevention and protection ordinance. We only have fireworks and burn ban in there, and that's it. We don't have anything about inspections, we don't have anything about the fire marshal, none of that. So we're working on revamping that chapter so we can bring that for the council to consider adopting as well, and giving more teeth to our fire department when they have to go out and investigate any possible violation of our fire code. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep the $50,000 in there. I'm still trying to determine what all the services are that we'll be getting from Justin Fire Department for that $50,000. They're saying they won't even be ready to stand that up until 6 months into the fiscal year anyway, so we're looking at 2027 before we'll actually be having to cut any check to them to start this up. So I still have a lot of questions, a lot of discussions, but I do know that our best bet would be to contract with Justin, and in this case it's probably going to have to be the city of Justin, to go ahead and have that fire marshal service for us, because more and more we're going to need it. We're having some large houses that are being built over on the Denton County side, what was the one that we had here recently, 5,000 square feet?
7,000.
And then they just applied for a 7, so we have a 5,000 square foot house that's being built over on the Denton County side, and now we also got a building plans for a 7,000 square foot. And so obviously, you treat homes that size a little differently than you treat a, 2,500 to 3,500 square foot home, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that we need help, and it's only a matter of time till we start to get a multifamily development, i.e. apartment complex, or we get a true commercial development, and we're gonna definitely need some help with fire inspection services from someone, and I think Justin's the way to go. So that's the difference.
Question on that, please?
Sure.
So as you were saying that, I just was trying to clarify something in my head. So if we pay a portion or half of that salary, but then we're still going to be contracting and paying Justin for the inspections themselves, right?
No.
Or the developer.
We will be collecting that from the applicant.
Okay.
But that's gonna help us to defray some of the costs that we're gonna have. No, if we pay Justin 50,000, that's it.
Okay.
No mas.
Got
We're done. And you come here for as much as we need you to under this agreement.
Okay.
And we
And
get
we
the money
will
from
collect the
our
inspection, yeah. So when they go out to inspect, or they go review the plans, and we charge that fee that Susan includes in her calculations, we keep that.
Okay.
Are they taking any portion, any
No.
percentage?
No,
No,
all they're
it's
getting is a
20%.
flat, all they're getting is
It's
this flat.
20% of our claim review and building.
So what would a 7,000 square foot home cost about?
Any idea?
Yes, it's 50 cents, let me tell you.
Well, that was a $10,000 permit.
It's roughly about 10 to 12,
Wow.
but it's 50 cents a square foot, and then you have to have, it's weird how it's structured, but 7,000.
So there's a strong possibility that it would pay for itself.
No. We're not gonna have that
Not
many
right
problems.
away,
Not right away,
but eventually, yes, yes. And
When we start
particularly,
getting more and more.
here's the part where I'm interested, as you heard them.
10,219.
That's not bad.
So it's 20% of that.
It's not bad off
So
for
the fire
one house.
review fee is gonna be
Yeah,
20% of that.
I doubt we're gonna get a lot of those things.
What you heard them say, and what I'm
7,000 square feet.
interested in them standing up, as are they, inspections, city should be inspecting all commercial businesses at least once a year. They should also be inspecting all gathering sites, i.e. churches, to make sure that the exit sign lights work.
I'm real familiar with the city fire inspections.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, Starbucks has probably wherever you're at it, some cities do it twice a year, like
They
that.
don't charge
South
for
Lake does
that.
one twice.
Sir?
They don't charge for that.
No, we do charge it for
Yeah,
that.
Roanoke does it.
Well,
They expect me annually and they never charge.
Roanoke has a Walmart, so I guess they got quite a bit of sales. They don't need your $100.
You see their fireworks show? Well, I'll keep my mouth shut.
No, we normally charge them about, like in Denton, we were charging $100
Yeah.
Really?
for a business, and you have no choice in it, whether you're a bar, a restaurant, a local gathering place.
And charge you for it.
Wow.
And if they found any violations, you had time to cure them, or else they could come back and they could cite you for it.
Well, they can cite me for a violation, that's true, but they never, I've been there 13 years and they haven't charged me a penny.
Well, okay, it's Roanoke, so
Yeah, okay.
it must be nice to
I
have
thought
money.
it was normal. I feel great.
I'm the poor country cousin over here.
And I can attest that if they come by looking for donations for some program, find the money, because next week you're gonna get a visit from the fire marshal.
Oh, that's just coincidence.
Yeah, okay. Like, yeah, there's no quotas, yeah.
Okay, so anything related to that first line item? The second line item is the contract deputies. That is our half for what we are paying for the White County deputy. Paradise pays the other half. As I said, it only went up. As you can see, we were paying $45,000 this year, $49,000 next year, so not much of an increase. Boyd Law Enforcement, as you know, we're going to not renew the ILA with them, so we're going to go down. from 120, or actually not even that, we're gonna close out somewhere closer to 100,000, I think, to zero, but still working on that interlocal agreement with Rome PD, so hopefully we will have something for you to consider within the next month. And if both councils approve it, then we can start this thing September 1 or so. But we are anticipating paying them for about an average of about 14 hours per week, and that's going to add up to about 99,000. So we're basically swapping 120,000 for 99,000. We need to purchase some ticket writers and some printers. We're spreading this cost out amongst some different funds. We were able to use some of our court technology, although we don't have much money going in that fund anymore. We're able to use some of our court consolidation, but that's paying for a lot of software. So we're also going to need to pull some money from here to be able to purchase some new ticket writers and printers for law enforcement to continue to easily be able to issue citations. If you go down to professional services, 17,460, that's going to be the other half of the payment for the FAR study that we're doing. We're paying half this year, half next year, so we can get that study completed, and then hopefully council will be able to have the information you need so you can direct me as to what you think the plan for the future needs to be for fire coverage. If you go down to the capital equipment, that's 78,000. That's 72,000 of that is what we're committed to paying both New Fairview Fire Rescue and Justin Fire Department for the engine. You saw photos of the New Fairview Fire Rescue engine that they now have deployed in our multi-purpose building next door. And then for those of you that were here before the meeting, you got to see the Quint that we contributed to that Justin brought over. Now this also includes, and I gave you this packet, Ricky had asked for us to look into purchasing the solar flashing LED radar speed signs for South County Line Road. So as Joshua got me a quote here, it's $5,600 for one at each end. So all in, we're talking about $5,600. However, when we go and we need to purchase the poles and the concrete and all that, I think we budgeted what?
600.
6,000?
Yep, 6,000 all in.
Yeah, so all in, we're looking at about $6,000 to be able to install 2 of these on South County Line Road. So that's what's in that number.
I have one question on that. Are we gonna do this for every road where people complain about speeding, or are we just gonna do South County?
Well,
Because my opinion is 70 on South County Line Road is safer than 55 on Hilltop.
I don't necessarily agree, but I think maybe looking at putting some on Hilltop might not be a bad idea, but I don't think 70 down South County Line Road is at all safe.
Well, I don't agree, it's not.
Because
But 50 on Hilltop's not
last
either.
week I had tire marks in my front yard where somebody went off into my yard, but I don't want to make this about me. I did request this because it is something that I'd like to put forward, but this is more expensive than I was expecting.
I was hoping we'd
Is
get
there-
about 6 for this price myself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, I agree, I wanted to get several, but not at $2,800.
And I don't want to make this a big topic, but I see this one has the slow down and whatnot. Is there a cheaper option that maybe doesn't have that additional slow down box that just shows your speed and the speed limit? Or
So I could look into it. This was actually significantly lower cost than I thought, ma'am.
I'm just, because that's what these.
Correct, yes.
Like, did you get
So
a
yes,
price on
it could be just the speed limit sign, and I can get you a price for that
Okay.
without the
I
slow
do
down.
know the county had a portable trailer
They used on
that,
South Carolina
okay,
for a while.
that they loaned out. I'm assuming they still do that, but
COG used to as well. I can check to COG.
yeah, see if we can rent it for cheaper, or maybe they'll just let us borrow it.
The only problem, folks, is what's the point? Because I can assure you, this doesn't slow anybody down. And unless we've got law enforcement out there, but this isn't needed for them because they've got the LiDAR gun that they run anyway, which is more accurate than this. So
my reasoning is to increase awareness because people come off of 407 going 60 and then come down South Carolina. And with Paloma Phase 4, I mean, I don't know if I've driven by there, but I mean, the neighborhood's gonna be very big. There's a lot of residences there. And so my thought was, we don't have a full-time police department, was to raise awareness. Like, what other ways can we help do traffic control? In my mind, this was one of them, to try to raise awareness that, hey, you're not in a 60, you're in a 45. So, but it is more expensive. I'd like to see if there's cheaper options, because I don't want to spend $5,000.
I'm not surprised, like Joshua, I'm surprised it's that cheap. I would like for us to buy 2 of these each fiscal year and start spreading them out to other areas and start off on South Carolina Road.
Or maybe 2 trailers and move them every month.
Yeah, the trailer option, I think, would be, because then we can just move them wherever our problem areas are.
I would imagine the trailers are gonna be considerably more expensive though.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
The Your Speed digital signs, and I don't know what quality, on Amazon range from $300 to $500.
That's what I'd seen, because I'd looked online just to see if I could find them, which I don't know if they're municipal quality, so when I'm looking at this now, I'm like, oh, that's a lot more than I was expecting.
That sounds like
Because that's why I was like,
somebody
we should be able to do this,
private
$1,000
business would use, I think.
I know the ones TxDOT put on 287.
Oh, I just saw those, yeah.
They're about 10 miles off, and out of 4s, there's only 1 standing, and they've been up almost 6 months.
Yeah.
The other 3 have been.
We should not have ever allowed driveway entrance on South Carolina Road. And now I feel like the city is responsible for this mess, and they need to do whatever they can. And that's just one small step of reminding everyone to go the speed limit. We need to have a higher presence of radar enforced police or whoever up there. The city caused this problem. The city needs to be responsible for enforcing safety in that area. It's a concrete road and it's a highway.
So, I've got 2 conflicting directions here.
Yes.
You want the trailer or you want the cheaper sign?
I think price them both out and see what they
Yeah,
come
I think.
You want both?
Just to price them out, because, I mean, I don't know if I like the trailer idea, because I think it's gonna be like a lot more money.
I think it's good stuff.
Okay.
But I
We
think
will do
they
that.
also, well, not that it matters, I think it also records the license plates.
We don't have that.
I think we have to do that.
I mean, if we can get these little, Your Speed ones that just like flash
Yeah,
a blue light or
I
something.
like that one.
And we can get, for much cheaper, we can get 4,
I mean, I
4 of
guess
them.
if we get a cheaper sign that's flashing, then when they do get pulled over, nobody can say, well, I didn't know. Well, yeah, you did, because it was flashing like this when you went by.
Okay, so we'll look at the trailer option and the cheaper sign option and bring that back to you. Going down to the next item, I've got, for buildings capital, there's 18,000 in there. 18,000, 10,000 of that is to install flooring at the EMS area in the multipurpose room building. And 8,000 is to do a drop ceiling, kind of like what we have here, to help mitigate the echoing and also not have to, in the summer, cool that whole large area like we had to cool this area. We can hopefully have a savings in our utility fees out there that we pay, electric bill. So we've got 18,000 in there right now that we would like to use, because even if EMS eventually moves out of that location and they build something here on site, that's probably going to be taken over by the fire department to start handling more and more calls as we continue to grow and have more and more calls coming in. Questions on any of that? Okay, so we're looking at going from currently for public safety somewhere around 371,000 to 350,000 for next year. If you go to the city council budget, you will notice at the very top, we've actually dropped legal expenses from 15,000 to 10,000 for next year. You weren't getting as many, you didn't have as many requests as I guess previously. We also show that we are increasing the miscellaneous expense from 1,700 to 8,150. That's line item 5355. That's gonna include the council dinners, because that's where we charge the dinners that we have for council before some of these longer meetings. Wise County Mayor dinners that they have, like the upcoming Mayor's Dinner that's coming up in August, which, by the way, if you haven't RSVP'd, please get to us ASAP, because we need to go ahead and finish finalizing purchasing those tickets. That's also going to cover the meet and greet that we continue to host for candidates running for state, federal offices, county offices. So that's why that number is going up from 1,700 to 8,100. And then if you go a little further down under buildings capital, so one of the things that we're looking at now that we've made the ceiling improvement with the lights, the next thing that we've talked to council that you all said you wanted to improve was our AV system that we have in here. So we met with the same company that installed the AV system for the city of Bridgeport, and they installed the AV system for the city of Paradise. I was expecting a quote to come in about $25,000. It's actually come in much higher than that. So I'm going to visit with them again and figure out if there's some areas where we can shave off some of that cost. But I've got it right now as a placeholder. Unless council tells me you don't want to update your AV system next fiscal year, then I'll take that off. Otherwise, I'll keep working on trying to refine that number.
What are you saying?
Yeah, what is that referring to?
So we've had complaints in the past sometimes when people sitting in the back cannot hear, especially some of the more softer spoken council members up here cannot hear you back there. Or sometimes when somebody's talking, we can't hear them up here. We also want a way that we can more easily make presentations so that you're able to see the presentation than the way we currently have set up right now. There's also an easier way for us to record the meetings. We're not looking at trying to live stream the meetings, even though that's something they highly encourage us to do. We say, no, we don't want to do that. The way we have it now is we record, and then Susan will upload it the week after the meeting or a few days after the meeting, and that seems to be working out fine for us. So we're not going to include any kind of live streaming for that.
I think that we don't need to make any changes at all. I mean, I don't like the way it is, but let's wait. That's something that should be way down low on our priority list.
I kind of agree, like since we don't really actually have much participation, like if we start to see an increase in people attending, then all for it. But I think for right now, it's not top priority.
When we get into the tax meetings in August, we'll just talk louder.
I don't think there's any soft-spoken people on the council right now.
No, we all do just fine.
Okay, I will remove that from the budget, not a problem. So in total, as you can see there, we are going to go up from 39,000 to around 50,000 when we take out that 25. Questions on the council budget? Then let's move on to city administration. As you can see, going down to contract labor, that is our janitorial services. We are going from 8,600 to 5,100 because Susan was able to get us a janitorial service that A, was reliable, B, they actually do show up to do the job, and 3, they were charging much less than previous companies we had used. So we seem to be very happy with this service, and right now that's why the budget is what it is. Legal expenses did not end up having to use as much as I had from previous years, so we're reducing that from 19 down to 10. The information technology is being moved over to software. I'm sorry? Did you hear something? Thunder? Oh, well, if it starts to rain, we're going to see if that insulation works or not, right? Yeah. Anyway, for information technology, you'll see it's gone from 7,700 to 0 because we've moved that over to our software line item. We'll discuss that here in just a minute. Nothing else there has changed, had any major change. Any questions on this page? If not, we'll go to the next one. Okay, on the next one, you'll see that software is going from 17,700 to 19,800. That's because we are increasing some services. One of those that I'm contracting with is ZacTax. For those of you that were at the Wise County Mayor's Dinner here recently that we had, Zach Tax made a presentation on property tax and how they can help us better assess and determine our property tax and how it is changing. On top of that, they are going to be able to help us with what's called the T&T form, the Truth in Taxation, which is the 55-step form that the state requires us to go through to determine what the different tax rates should be. And we will now be able to determine if, in fact, Wise County is calculating that correctly or not. So that's what adds up to that $19,866 line item. If you go down to the equipment rental, it's going down from $3,500 to $1,700 because of the fact that our printer, we've been able to better stabilize the rental of the copy / printing machine, and the costs for printing have gone down, so that's why that number has gone down, not just on this department, but amongst the other 4 departments where we share some of these costs. So some of the admin costs we split up amongst the different departments. You'll see it again right now when I come up talking about the city secretary budget. If we go down to the auditor line item, you'll see that we are putting down $16,500, which is down from the current $28,000, although we're probably going to close out around $38,000 because that's only going to be for 1 year. We did hear from the auditor, and they're going to have the draft to us this week.
I'm hoping. We have some things that Tina and I are going to work on Wednesday. I sent her a response this morning. But every week, it's always something that they're coming back with, so we're having to figure out something.
So are we still not on task for them to be the 20th?
Once I meet with Tina on Wednesday and see, because
Okay.
Valerie hasn't responded.
Well, the last we heard from the auditors, they were ready to come on July the 20th to go over that audit with you, but I guess we'll keep you posted. If you go to the next line item, professional services, I didn't write my note down for that one. 1 second. Okay, yeah, so professional services, that is covering some of the costs for our finance director to help us with the audits as well as budget preparations and budget amendments is what's in that line item. And then if we go to the property tax collection fees, you see that's going up from $18,400 to $22,466. And a big chunk of that is actually due to what's happening to us as it relates to the increased costs. So like, for example, we're paying Wise County Tax Office $6,000 next year, and WiseCAD, the appraisal district, $14,310 because our values continue to go up. Those numbers continue to go up. Denton County is still kind of small. We pay DCAD just under $2,000, and we pay Denton County a whopping $300. So that's what takes care of our property tax collection fees. The credit card fees, that's money in, money out. So you see currently we had budgeted $15,000. We're going to close out the year at about $33,000. So that's why we're increasing next year's budget to $35,000. Anytime anybody comes in here to pay with a credit card, whether it's for a permit or a citation, whatever the case might be, we collect an additional 3.5%. And then we turn around and pay that to the credit card when they charge us. So what you're seeing here is the money going out. You're not seeing the money coming in on the revenue side. And then the TML insurance is the other big one where we're taking a hit. So we realized after we're doing an audit, ourselves as staff, we realized that some of our property was not being adequately covered by TML. So Susan and Joshua took about a week or so and went through every equipment, trailer, asset, including the new stuff we put out at the park. We sent all that to TML, and they've given us what the costs are going to be now to cover all of our property. So that's where we're going up from $17,300 to $33,129. So in total, we're looking at an increase from the current $348,000 to about $377,000 for the admin department. Questions on that?
Has that insurance coverage already been changed to include all that, or is that just starting next fiscal year?
Well, it's already been changed to include it now. So we did pay a little bit more an adjusted rate for this fiscal year, but now it's going to be the full hit is going to be next year.
Gotcha. That's what I thought. I just wanted to-
Yeah, no, we were gonna wait and hope nothing happens to us, right? Okay, next page, City Secretary Department. If you'll go down to the legal expenses, she's spending like a drunken sailor. We had $2,000 for legal. Apparently, people keep wanting to disannex from the city or ETJ or something, so legal fees are going to close out about $7,800. That's why we're going to increase our legal expense next year to about $5,000. Nothing else major change there. Next page, you will notice that under software, again, she's going from $13,200 to $19,761. The Acuna portion is $6,240 of that. Franklin Legal Services is about $4,000. Remember, Franklin Legal is who actually has to update all of our code of ordinances. So every time we make any changes to any of our code of ordinances, we have to send it to them, and they're the ones that update it on our website for us. And then the other one is FundView, because we use so many different, like payroll and general ledger comes out of her department, since she's currently doing a lot of our finance stuff for us. So FundView is $9,261 for next year. So that's why it adds up to $19,761. If we go to equipment rental, as you'll see there again, it's going down from $3,000 to $1,200. It again goes back to the discussion I had earlier, where we finally right-sized the dollar amount for renting that copy machine and the printer costs associated with it. Her training budget is coming down from $9,600 to $8,000. Memberships is coming down from $1,000 to $400. And then internet telephones going up from $900 to $1,600, mainly because we've added the Starlink as a backup feature for us, because we were tired of, I think, if I don't remember, there was one day there, or actually in a week, we were down for like 3 days. We didn't have phone service, we didn't have internet service here, so luckily we all have laptops. I sent everybody home. We were able to stay operational and work from home, but that's just not acceptable. So that's when we started looking into alternatives, and the most cost-effective one was just go ahead and pay for a Starlink membership, and that's our backup. And in fact, we've used it sometimes when we have, for whatever reason, our fiber goes down, we can automatically switch over to Starlink, and everything works except for our printers, right? We're not able to print. We never fixed out that glitch.
And our phones.
And our phones don't work? Okay,
No.
so the printer and phones don't work. We're still working on trying to figure out what that glitch is all about, but we're still operational. As we have the internet, we've got email, so we're
Is it
anything.
an automatic switch, or does it have to be like turned manually?
No, it automatically kicks on.
Yeah, it kicks on automatically, and if not, there's a switch that we have set up that we can flip it. But it's supposed to automatically kick on. Okay, so then that department's going from the current budget year of $188,000 to about $211,000. Questions on this department? Okay, next page. Okay, now let's talk about water. As I've told you all, we need to start getting ready to start up a water department. We had a pre-construction meeting with Lennar and their engineers and their road contractors about 2-3 weeks ago in this room. They are, this month, are already starting to lay down water lines and wastewater lines. They are starting to drill the 2 water wells. They put out to bid the construction of the wastewater treatment plant, package plant that they're going to be building up on the north end of their property. And they have a timeline to have drainage done and the lines in, have the lines in and the roads done probably by the end of the calendar year. And then the drainage will be done shortly after the new year. They're telling me that they think, they're fairly confident they're going to be able to start pulling building permits as early as April or May. So to me that means June, possibly July. But if they pull April or May, they said they're going to be ready to start selling homes July, August timeframe. Well, in order to sell homes in ranch land, that also means that we're gonna now have water and wastewater customers because we're gonna be responsible for that. So that's why I've been working feverishly with the city manager of Justin and with our utility attorney to try and get some wording in place so that we can start to get Justin Water Department to come in here and help us out as we start to stand up our water department and learn how to actually operate a water department. We are estimating that by the end of the fiscal year, it's easy for us to have about 35 water customers, maybe more. Lennar feels like they're going to be able to have, how many did they say they were able to pull a month or build a month?
20 a month, sir.
20. So they feel very confident, and from what I understand from people that know and have dealt with Lennar, they easily do this. You can pull 20 building permits a month for a long period of time. The 2 wells that they're drilling is only going to be good for the first 150 homes. And I'm sure they're going to have to make a decision as to whether they're going to drill the 3rd or 4th, or they're going to see if we're getting close to maybe connecting water from Justin to New Fairview before they need that. So there's still a lot of unknowns. But we're working on the assumption that we're going to have 35 customers by the time this fiscal year, the 26-27 fiscal year closes out. So obviously we're looking at revenues and expenditures. So for revenues, we're looking at things like the water service fee, which includes the actual amounts that we'll be collecting from customers. They'll be paying their water bill, to the different fees that they're going to pay. Like when the builder says, I need you to come install a water meter. Okay, well, you're going to pay for the water meter, and then you're going to pay for the installation, and then you're going to pay for this, that, and the other. So we've got all these other fees, which the council's already approved, and when you had your fee schedule adjustment here recently, we brought you some. But those are just placeholders right now until we get the study completed that we're doing to determine what the true fee should actually be. Of course, we won't know that until we better understand what the agreement's going to be with Justin as to the dollar amount we're going to be paying them. But all of that is in the works. Just know that we're already anticipating what it's going to look like if we collect, if we have 35 wastewater customers for the water fund. We're looking at about $84,987 in fees and in the estimated rates that we're going to be collecting from them. One of the other things that we're going to recommend to council is that we approve a deposit on all customers. So if you're a customer here at New Fairview, and what was the dollar amount we went with, Susan? Do you remember?
I think it was that.
Was it 150?
The 150, yeah, for the wasn't it 3/4?
3/4 meter?
Yes.
Okay, so 3/4 meter is about the size that you're going to have installed for an average home. And on the recommendation, not just of Justin, but also of our finance director that does utility financing for other cities, including Rome, who had not been collecting deposits, but they are now. We currently have a $150 deposit we're going to collect from every customer, just to ensure that nobody steps out on their bill, right? And then we're on the hook and we have to get a collection agency after them. However, what we'll probably recommend to council is if that customer pays their bills on time for 12 months in a row, so they've been a customer for about a year, then at that point we should go ahead and credit them in future bills until they wipe out that $150 deposit, so we're not holding on to that deposit indefinitely. But that's why you see that water deposit line item up there of $5,250. Again, that's based on 35 customers giving us a $150 deposit for the water. Interest earned, we have that on all of our funds. Other revenue, so other revenue is important because in there we've got a $26,000 rainwater harvest grant that we're going to be applying for from Trinity, as I told you that we were going to do that. There's a $99,500 loan for a truck and a crane that we are wanting to purchase for being able to use for the water department. And then the developer, I'm going to be going after them to reimburse us for some of these costs that I'm discussing with you guys here shortly, so that you know that there'll be some money coming in. I also think we're going to need to do a no interest loan, basically, transfer from the general fund into this water fund just to get them started. This is no different than what we're doing right now with the West Fork PUA. As you know, we're paying them to, probably for the next 5 years until they're able to start generating revenue and start selling us water. So we're basically giving them a no interest loan along with all of the other entities that are part of the West Fork PUA. And then when they finally start to generate revenue, then they'll give us the money back, or they'll give us some credit. So at some point we'll get this money back, but I think we're gonna need to have something to prime the pump, as they say. And so right now I've got a placeholder of 150,000 to put in there, transfer in from the general fund to the water fund. If we look at expenditures, I am going to be requesting 1 FTE, 1 full-time equivalent for the water department. So that's why you see salaries, overtime, TMRS, all the benefits in there for that 1 employee, because we're going to need some help in getting a lot of things up and going for the water department. We also are going to have some legal expenses and other professional services, so that's why you see right now estimating 20,000 for legal, 25 for engineer, and 10,000 for planner. These are just my best guesses. I have no idea if these numbers are anywhere near accurate, but I wanted to have something in there at least as placeholders for this new created department. And then if you look at certification pay, you see 2,700. I'm going to have every public works employee is going to go through the Class D license, because we need to start getting our licenses. We need to start learning how to operate a water system, and we're going to be operating under Justin's Class C licensed employees, and then eventually we're going to go ahead and test some of folks to become hopefully a Class C license, because in order to transition to become our own water department, we're going to need to have at least a couple of Class C licenses in our staff to be able to get the certification that we need. So we're going to start again working towards starting all of that up. Any questions on anything I mentioned in this page?
I have one quick question on the water. So have they started construction on the wastewater treatment plant? Because I thought we said before that it takes about 18 months to build.
They have not started construction, sir. They have it out to bid. I don't know if they've already selected somebody and we're going to start construction soon, but when we met with them, when was that pre-con? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? Was it 3 weeks ago?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago? So when we met with them 2 weeks ago, they still had not started construction, but they said they were getting close.
So if it takes about 18 months to build how are we going to have it?
So here's what they're going to do. In order for a wastewater treatment plant to operate the way it should, you need to basically have 150 homes contributing wastewater.
Yeah, I get that.
They're not going to have that for quite some time. So what they're going to end up doing is they're going to end up having to truck it out. So we're going to set up an area where the wastewater is going to go to, and then they're going to be getting trucks coming in on a regular basis and pumping it out and trucking it out until we get enough homes that we can go ahead and run it all the way up to the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, I see his point though, but you're still going to be charging them for the water and wastewater services.
Like
Yes.
Fairview Meadows, they set the tanks first. That's the first thing they did in the production. And they were putting in it, but they were hauling it out before they got the packaging, the processing part done. That was the last part of the construction.
So the tanks will be there.
The tanks will be there
Because we'll have to
collecting
go up there and collect out of the tanks and
Yes.
take it and dump it somewhere.
right in a landfill.
But yes, people will be paying for people will be paying for a wastewater fee. What I don't know is what that fee's going to look like, because that's all going to have to be calculated as part of the study that's being done.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Next page.
Oh,
You have one?
like on my understanding, right on the Class C, like on the licensing, we have to have, somebody has to have a Class C for distribution, and somebody has to have a Class C for plant.
Well,
That too.
in this case, remember, we got groundwater,
So-
so we're gonna have to be dealing with groundwater, but we also dealing with distribution. It would be nice at some point, and we're gonna need to start also transitioning to becoming wastewater operators. But I'm not so much worried about that, because one, it's gonna be a while till they have 150 homes, and that's gonna be operational. Two, I'm hoping that the council will allow me to contract with like Inframark that runs the wastewater treatment plant down here at the Mud. And they can run it for some time, so we can concentrate on the water operation side before we have to start moving over to wastewater.
But don't you, but
But
you
we
have
are,
to have two different,
we have to have
licenses.
two different licenses.
Just
yes, sir.
for water.
Just for water.
And
Not
then
even
one
talking about
for
wastewater, and then we're gonna need for wastewater.
You initially, by the rules, you can operate, if you have an operator that is groundwater certified, a groundwater certified operator can operate both as a distributor, as water distribution and groundwater. But if we were to have somebody that had a distribution only license, then we would have to have a groundwater license individually as well. It gets kind of tricky.
Yeah.
But yes, traditionally speaking, it would be two different licenses.
That's why I had somebody explain that to me last week, and I was asking about that, so.
And remember, I think I told council this, the last conversation I had with Lennar is they're wanting to replace the well water with the surface water that will be coming in from Justin. But we're not gonna stop the water wells. I mean, we're not gonna plug the water wells because we would like for them to maybe start using that water for future construction needs or irrigation, or if something happens and we need to convert back to the groundwater because we gotta fix something regarding the surface water coming from Justin. So for whatever reason, our recommendation to the council is gonna be, we continue to operate and maintain the wells, the water wells, and not plug them up. And in fact, other cities like Boyd are realizing that they need to go back and start drilling their own water wells themselves, so you don't ever want to plug water wells, right? Okay, anything else on this page? Okay, next page, if you go over, so equipment, you see right now we're estimating $18,900. That is to get a minimum 2 each of pipe clamps and pipe couplings. We're going to need some poly pipe to have on hand. We need some portable lights. So we're going to need some equipment to be able to start operating the water system. Keep in mind, Justin is helping us with the service. We're still going to be responsible for the actual materials. Okay, so just because we'll be contracting with Justin to come out here and help us with a leak or install something doesn't mean that they're going to also bring the pipe and the couplings. We're going to be on the hook to have all that. So that's why we need to have some of this in our budget ready to go.
One more. Where are we gonna store all this, because none of it can be left outside?
That is correct, and that's going to be the challenge.
Water pipe cannot be left outside.
We're gonna pile it in the building next door with everything else.
He's got a real good drawing.
Pipe,
In the back of an ambulance.
water pipe can't be outside.
No.
No, it cannot be
That's
UV, it
underground.
cannot be UV exposed.
Yeah.
We can't get it wet.
No, it
You can
can't.
get it all you want.
It can't have sunlight on
I like that.
it. The law won't allow it. The TEQ or whatever,
TCQ.
you will not allow us to store a water pipe outside, because you can't have.
So are we gonna put a third Connex box up on top?
Yeah, I don't know an answer to that.
And the reason I ask that, because dealing with my contractors, I know they spend a ton of money, just the contractors spend a ton of money each year on tarps, because they can't have the pipe at the job site over so long without it being tarped.
2 weeks, maximum allowable exposure.
Yeah, and some of these,
14
like,
days, yeah.
and some of this stuff is pretty expensive, believe it or not, like what was it, the couplings or the clamps that were outrageous?
Oh my lord, some of those couplings are, for a 12-inch pipe, we're looking at $2,500 a pop.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to put some of this under lock anyway, so we may end up having to move some stuff out of this Connex box so that we can lock it over here and figure out what we'll do with that stuff. But anyway, we're already trying to figure out what kind of equipment we need. That's how we got the $18,900. Miscellaneous supplies, we're gonna need chlorometers.
Chlorometers, you have to measure the amount of chlorine.
Something called valve sticks. We're going to need a certain type of disinfectant. So again, we've been reaching out to all kinds of people that operate water departments, and they're telling us all the different things that they use and that we're going to need. So we've started to put together a list.
Aqua just pours it till it smells right.
Wait, does Aqua actually use chlorine? I didn't.
Oh, yeah. They must buy it in bulk.
They buy the bulk? They just back up the truck?
Actually, quite literally, they do get back up the truck.
Well, we are going to strive to be better than Aqua.
Okay.
Just, you know. Let's see, we put fuel down for the vehicle. We're going to be asking for some repair money, software. So let's talk about software. Right now we're sitting at about $77,511, but this is one of those items that I'm going to go after the developers to pay for some of this because, for example, we need to be able to monitor the pressure in our system. And the system I'm familiar with is SCADA, and pretty much every city that I know of has a SCADA system. And we're going to need one for water, and we're going to need one for wastewater. Well, right now, we're still waiting to visit with the vendor, but the estimate we got was $35,000 just for the SCADA software. And then we're going to need to have a FundView module that does nothing but the utility billing. And 1/3 of that cost is going to be split the cost is going to be split 1/3 each for water, wastewater, and solid waste. And that cost, 1/3 of it is almost $6,000, $5,916. Susan and I spoke with a company called UCO today. They do third-party billing for cities, and we explained to them what we're facing here, that we're going to be starting up water, wastewater, that we're probably going to be doing in the future trash billing. And right now we're looking at an estimate of about $5,800 to be able to do third-party billing. That included the postage, right?
Yes, that is.
Okay, because again, we're going on the 600 customers for trash, and then right now 35 for water, wastewater, till we continue to grow. And then we're also getting those Badger water meters, which are wireless, that we wouldn't have to actually have somebody going out there and reading all these meters. But you need to have a way for that water meter to communicate with our financial software, FundView. And so there's a company out there called Itron that for a mere $30,795, we get 126 of the modules that you put onto the Badger meter, so it'll connect to the software for FundView. I know I'm sounding a little facetious, but I tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet. The only thing that costs as much as this is a fire department or police department. So we thought we were spending a lot of money in public works. Wait till I can get to the next slide here that shows you the estimated right now cost so far for the fire department.
And on that, I saw, we do a lot of work at the house, but there is another company, and I didn't bring it with me, that like if you had to do a disconnect for no payment, there is a system that you can buy to put on there, and that way if they come and pay the emergency fee and all that, you could actually turn your water back on with your cell phone and not have to send it.
By the way, Itron does do that. That's included with Itron.
Oh,
So
really?
you can from my cell phone, I can shut them off and turn them back on. So,
But on this one was a portable. You shut them off the regular way, but then you clamp this deal on it, and then if
To lock it out.
they lock it out, and then if they pay at midnight, and want an emergency turn back on, you can just turn it back on from the cell phone.
But yeah, in the event, like let's say Steve upset you one night and you were mad, I could cut his water off. And just do this.
Oh my God.
I don't know what happened.
That's like overtime.
Yeah, so as you can see, we are we're going to be spending quite a bit in software to get this system operational, but a lot of that cost, I'm going to go after the developers to reimburse us for that or cover that cost. I've got about $7,100 in there for training dues. Mainly, again, it's going to be because we need to send folks to Class D license training and also to Class C license training, and then you got to pay for the actual test for them to get certified, and then you give TCEQ their pound of flesh so that they'll send you the certification. So that's why we're at $7,100 right now. Next item, auditor. I'm not sure what the auditor is going to charge us. I haven't had that conversation yet, but I know that we're going to need to do an audit of our water fund, our wastewater fund, and our solid waste fund. Keep in mind, these funds are going to be separate and apart from our general fund. So some of you are going to be taxpayers, well, actually, all of you are gonna be taxpayers, but here in the near future, we're gonna have taxpayers and ratepayers. Because if you're buying water, wastewater services from the city, you're gonna be a ratepayer. Now, if you're getting trash service and we end up doing the billing, you're also gonna be a ratepayer. So understand, they're not always gonna be the same, but these funds are set up so that they can take care of themselves, and at some point in the future, if the city needs to issue debt for something related to water or wastewater, then you're going to be working out of just the revenue that's generated from those funds to cover that debt. You're not going to be relying on your property tax or your sales tax or any of that to cover that debt, okay?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I apologize if you told us before and I didn't hear. What is the significance of the red ink on the proposed?
That's a note for me to let me know that I'm still trying to refine that number.
What about the little red flags?
So the little red flags are these little notes that I put to myself because, trust me, we use these, all of us. We'll forget, and it's like, what account number did we put that under? And so if you can see, for example, look, when I hover on here, something else pops up, right?
Okay.
This is the way we keep track of all the different things that went into that number.
Okay.
And that way we make sure, before we bring the final budget to you, we're gonna go through each one of these and make sure we've captured everything.
So on this copy, red doesn't mean anything?
It doesn't mean anything to you guys, no, but it just means to us, there's a note
It's a wag.
associated with that number.
What?
A wag.
What's that?
Yeah, wild ass.
Yes.
Well, I'm on the lot today.
Welcome to Municipal Budgeting 101. And this is really a wag, as I said, we're venturing into uncharted waters here. I'm sorry, I lost my, what was that, auditor, did I cover that? I think I did cover that, right? Okay. Then we've got professional services. Remember I told you we're doing a rate study, so that's gonna be coming out of here. I'm still waiting for Westwood's proposal on a long-range plan for water, wastewater, which reminds me, I need to set up that meeting with Rome. Then we have MVBA fees, that's our collection agency, it'll come out of this line item. And then our financial advisor, so we've got professional services we're gonna need for this department, so I've got money in there. And then TML insurance, that's truly a wag. I haven't even had a chance to discuss this with Susan, so we can call TML and figure out what are they gonna charge us to go ahead and insure our water infrastructure. Because remember, at the end of the day, the developer's paying to put all this in, but at the end of the day, we're gonna be on the hook for that whole system. And so we wanna make sure we have proper coverage, especially once we start including water pumps, lift stations for wastewater. We're gonna have ground storage, water storage, and supposedly we're gonna have an elevated storage tank at the corner of FM 407 and South County Line Road, a water tower basically. So all of that's gonna need to be sure we have it covered under TML. So not sure yet what that is, but again, we're thinking of, we're gonna have to pay something, we just don't know what that is yet. So we're still working on refining this budget.
Before we get an elevated storage tank at that corner, we're gonna have to take a long, hard thought about our city logo.
Okay.
I don't know if I want that on this water tower.
Yeah, because understand, you guys are gonna have to figure out what you want painted on there, and let me tell you, painting a water tower, God, is ridiculous expensive. I couldn't believe how much that was.
The insurance on that is outrageous.
Yeah.
Because you gotta figure drift. I've been involved in that with
The huge drapes that they have to put
Yeah,
on. It's
we-
$250,000 to paint a water tower.
When I had a dealership in Burke Burnett, we had a grain elevator and a water tower next to us, and there was nothing unusual for us to get drift on 20 or 30 tractors.
Sounds
New
like
tractors
water
and-
tower's going to be naked for a while.
But they
All
keep
right,
running
we're going
inside out
naked.
About every 10 to 20 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go down to the next page. Rainwater harvest, we show there at 33,000. That's what we think we're gonna have to pay for that 20,000 gallon rainwater tank, hopefully that we will be building behind City Hall, but we will only do that project if we get a grant. So we showed you the money coming in and the revenue on top. This is the money going out at the bottom. West Fork PUA announced that they're gonna charge us the same, or they're gonna ask for the same assessment that they did the current year. So that's where the $31,058 is gonna go over to the West Fork PUA. We go further down, okay, vehicles. So right now, we're looking at a 1-ton truck with all the add-ons for the water department. So again, this is gonna be paid out of this fund, not out of the general fund. And then we also have 40 Badger water meters for $8,000 and a crane that we'll need for the truck at $9,500. So that's how you get to that $17,500. So that's the equipment, vehicles, equipment capital. And so right now, it's looking like we're gonna need to have an expenditure of about $754,000 for the water department. And right now, I'm only showing $375,000 in the revenues, but again, those numbers have not been refined. There's going to be much more than that coming in. I just haven't had a chance to.
I think the next page shows it in greater detail.
But that's still not counting any equipment to dig up a water line if we have a leak in year 2.
And as all of us know, thanks to the mayor, it is way more expensive than he initially tells you it's gonna be.
Well, I wouldn't expect them to one little attachment to cost more than.
So what we have started, if you'll go to the next page, we've started a water capital improvement projects, or CIP, just like we do for facilities, just like we do for technology, just like we do for our fleet. So we have been talking to some engineers and others that work for water departments, and this is what they're telling us, that we are probably going to need the first year. So that's where you see the crane, the truck, the SCADA system, the Itron, the Badger water meters, the pipe clamps. And so right now we're looking at about $184,000 just for the CIP for year 1. We haven't really refined the numbers for year 2, but it's going to be, we're already at $27,000 for year 2. But that number is just going to continue to go up, and then we haven't even started talking about year 3, 4, and 5 yet. But
Would
we'll
it
start to
be
do that.
logical to just contract all this out to Justin and not have to have all this equipment in the beginning and delay?
No, Justin doesn't want to do that, and rightly so. I don't blame them.
I think they do not have the equipment. They have the equipment to, like a backhoe and all, but they don't have the equipment to get a backhoe here. They don't have a city, they don't have a,
busy with their own.
they don't have a 33,000 GBD truck and a trailer.
Okay.
Because they drive their backhoe. So it's wrong the same way.
I guess you gotta start sometime.
Yes, sir. Questions on the water CIP page? Okay.
And as long as our city is, we'll have to have a truck and trailer, because over here, 2 miles that way, 2 miles that way, we can't drive it everywhere.
Yeah, and the good news is we're able to use all of our equipment however we need. Even though the water department bought this truck, that doesn't mean we can't use that truck to go help on a park project or a drainage project or a street project. Just like if we have a public works truck, but we need to go deal with a water issue, we can also have them go out there and help. So
I see this pushing us even closer towards having a public works building sooner than later.
well, as we talked in the retreat, at some point we're going to come up with something, and I'm thinking that's something that's going to need to be located across the creek over here. We just need to figure out what that's going to look like and how we're going to lay it out on that property out there. Yes, sir.
One question. And I apologize if I'm just missing something. I'm pretty tired, but 754 in expenditures. We're moving some money over from general fund. Where does the money come from? The rest of it from 3.
Yeah, so as I said, some of the money I'm going to be getting from agreements I'll be bringing to you guys that we make with the developers.
Okay.
To reimburse us for some of this cost.
Cool.
Some of it's actually going to be coming from the money we're going to be collecting from the customers. Right?
So we feel pretty good about, like, out of general fund, we'll probably take around 150.
I'm thinking right now we take about 150.
Okay.
And then we start to get the money that coming in from the developers. And then once the water starts to flow, we start billing people, right? Start collecting money there. And yeah, so that's where we're hoping that we'll be able to get everything in place.
Okay.
Okay, if we're ready to keep going, then wastewater fund is next. Wastewater is not as refined as water because again, we're not really gonna be operating the system anytime soon. We'll just be collecting for the wastewater service. But we are going to need to contract with someone, probably like Infomark, to help us operate this. And then we're going to get the developers to help pay for the trucking of the wastewater that we're going to have to truck out until we finally get 150 homes or so on board, so we can start using the wastewater treatment plant that has been constructed, turned over to it.
Can their maintenance bid pay for that?
Yes, and that's what I've talked to them about, but Lennar right now does not seem interested in wanting to activate their maintenance bid. They want to cash fund this stuff for now, so, okay. I'll take your money any way you want to give it to me. But at some point, I think they're going to have to activate their maintenance bid, and that means they have to come to council. That means we have to have P3 work to put something together for us, kind of like we did for Constellation Lake. We're here most recently for Impression Homes. That's all I had on that page. If you go to the next page, again, we're looking at software. We're splitting that up. So FundView, the third-party billing for UCO, we're looking at about $11,717 for the wastewater fund. Auditor, again, I've got a placeholder of $3,000. Professional services, I've got $5,000. Still trying to figure out what their portion is going to be for the rate study. TML insurance, again, I got a placeholder of $10,000. Don't know what that's going to charge us to insure the wastewater treatment plant once it's built and turned over to us. Not sure if we're going to have any wastewater project we're going to have to pay for yet. I haven't gotten everything, all the information back. And then, franchise fees. Here's something I forgot to mention for water and wastewater. So I'm going to recommend to the council that we charge the water and the wastewater funds a franchise fee. This, if you remember what franchise fees that we charge people is rent. If you ask the utility companies, they say it's a tax. Okay, you call it tax, I call it rent. You're renting from the city the ability to have your infrastructure on city right-of-way, right? That's where people put their lines, in the right-of-way underneath the street, along the bar ditch, somewhere in the right-of-way. And so you pay typically a 10% franchise fee to the city for that right. So I think that we should have these utility companies, which is basically what a water and a wastewater operation is going to be, is reimburse the general fund on the franchise fees based on the money that they collect. Okay, just like we charge franchise fees for the trash company or for Atmos.
But we own them.
Sort of.
Yeah, but remember, again, you're going to have ratepayers and you're going to have taxpayers.
But it's passing it on to.
But it's a way for new growth to reimburse existing people.
Yeah, so we're just paying for this huge water startup and we don't have city water service.
Yeah, so see,
I want to be very clear that we're only borrowing hopefully $150,000.
Right, and that's why I asked
us,
that.
For them to pay, they're going to pay us back plus 10% of every dollar we collect for them also.
right. Because see, there's the other thing that you see there, the municipal services fee underneath the franchise fee. The other thing that I'm used to having at cities, again where you have utilities, is I'm a general fund employee. He's a general fund employee. Susan's a general fund employee. We get paid from the general fund, right? Mm-hmm. Tax, property tax, sales tax, fines and fees. That's where we get paid from. But we're doing work that benefits the water fund or the wastewater fund or the solid waste fund. They don't have a manager. They don't have a city secretary, a finance director, an HR, a public works director. They don't have any of that. Yes. But some portion of our time is being spent. So we should have a formula, and it's going to change. So like, for example, quite a bit of my time right now is being spent on water. Quite a bit of Susan's time is being spent on the solid waste fund, okay? Quite a bit of Joshua's time is being spent on water and wastewater equally. So we're all spending different amount of times for the different funds, so we're going to have to go through here and figure out how much of my time is being spent for water fund, how much for wastewater, how much for solid waste, and same thing with these other employees, including the ladies that are gonna be collecting, you know, we're gonna train them how to collect water, wastewater, and trash bills as well. But it's a way for these funds to reimburse the general fund for the time that we're spending to their benefit, but yet we're being paid from taxpayers over here, right?
Until
Not
they're
ratepayers,
self-supporting.
taxpayers.
Gotcha.
So there's mechanisms that if you do it right, you put in place so that these utility departments will reimburse the general fund for the services they're receiving from the general fund.
Gotcha. Understand.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be paying for anything of theirs.
Yeah, and again, we want growth to pay for itself, and this is another way we're able to do that, so that the taxpayers are not having to subsidize these new residents that are coming in. We're also going to have the operations contract. Again, we don't know who we're going to contract with to do wastewater services for us, maybe Infomark, maybe somebody else, but that's to be determined. And then I know whenever you run a water wastewater system, you got all kinds of TCEQ fees that you're going to get to pay, not even talking about fines yet. Heaven forbid if you have to put out a boil water notice and get a fine for that. But fees, I know, are out there. I just haven't figured out what all of those are, so we're researching that now. But we know we're going to put some in the water and wastewater fund. So right now, we're looking at about 31,000 for the wastewater fund, but again, that's not an accurate number. There's still a lot of unknowns. Okay? Questions on wastewater fund? Okay, next page is solid waste. Solid waste again, we won't actually be providing the service. We'll contract with someone, based on our discussion earlier, somebody that the council will award the proposal to, but we are going to be the ones probably collecting, so we're going to be collecting, we're going to require a deposit. We're going to probably need to have a general fund transfer to start this fund up as well. And then when they make money, they can start paying us back. We might have some minimal legal expenses. We don't think we're going to have any office supplies, equipment, postage, any of that, because that's all going to be taken care of by the third-party billing company. So I don't think we have anything there. Next page. Not sure yet if we're going to have any kind of legal notices we're going to put out. We're thinking probably not. We know we're going to have software expenses because we're splitting this along with the other two funds. We know we're going to have an auditor expense. We know we're going to have some professional services expense. I'm not sure we're going to have any miscellaneous expenses. I do know, again, that we're going to require them to, we'll be getting a franchise fee that we'll be collecting, in this case from the company that we're going to ultimately be paying the money to provide the trash service. There again, the municipal service fee, so we should be able to recoup for the amount of time the general fund employees are spending on this solid waste fund. And then of course the money we're actually going to be paying to the contractor when they say, hey, we picked up 602, we trashed for 602 customers in New Fairview last month, here's your bill. And that's where we'll put the money that we have to write to them. And then again, regulatory fees, we know they're out there, we just don't know what those are. Questions on the waste, on solid waste fund? Okay?
And just, our income on that should be in the, we'd say about 2,800, 3,000 a month, I think, on franchise fees.
We're normally bringing in what, about 2,200?
It's 2,200 to 2,500 a month.
That's because they're shortchanging us. I did the math, it should be about 2,800.
That's why I want this report, so we can kind of compare.
According to the list they sent, it should be about 2,800.
Yes.
Maybe
So-
they'll owe us some money.
Yeah, it could
They'll
be.
send us a check.
So, yeah, so we think we'll be collecting somewhere around 2,500 a month for franchise fees. But again, depending on, see, remember, right now, we're just paying for trash service.
Yes.
If we have bulky item collection, right, then that's going to be an even higher bill, so that means you're going to be collecting even more in franchise. So it's not unheard of that we might end up getting 3,000. Plus right now, we only have the customers that we have of the people that moved into Paloma Ranch and Settlers Glen, on top of everybody that's already living here. But once Lennar starts to crank up, or Phase 4 Paloma Ranch, then we're gonna have even that many more customers, right? So that number's just gonna continue to go up, so our franchise fees are gonna continue to go up for this service. Anything else on solid waste fund? Okay, if not, next page. So you'll see the full-time equivalents that we've been tracking since I've been here. We currently are at 10 full-time equivalents. It's broken down by the different departments here. I'm going to be asking for 1 FTE in the water department for next fiscal year, so we'll have a total of 11 FTEs. 2 of those are part-time for the city. Questions on that?
I had a question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the last meeting you told us that you were training a new part-time code enforcer, but you still have a code enforcer down as 1.
Yes, ma'am. So what I have is, you see where Public Works, there's a number 4 there. I've got a Public Works employee that'll going to be doing code enforcement part-time for code and part-time for Public Works. And so that's why this water FTE is going to be doing some work for Public Works and doing some work for water to help offset some of that code enforcement work. But those are the actual duties. But when you actually go to pay somebody, it's easier to keep paying them out of the department where they're housed. So he's still going to be housed in the Public Works, so he's still going to get paid out of Public Works, even though half of his duties are over here in code enforcement. It's no different than when they go and they work on projects at the park. We have a park department, and we have a part-time employee in the park, but we don't need to adjust and pay people out of the park department. Okay, so it's a lot cleaner to keep them housed in the department that they're in, and then you just know that you're covering certain duties with that employee in one department or other duties in another department.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions on the FTE? Okay, then we'll go to the next page. Okay, so I have been asked to look at doing a salary survey on where we stand, and so I had Renee did a good job of going and reaching out to various cities here, a few in Wise County. Apparently quite a few of them don't have the minimum, mid, or maximum range, and then some in the Denton County area. We really need to do a salary survey, and I would recommend, I've got a quote right now for $10,000 to do a salary survey if we want one done next fiscal year. A salary survey, what they do is they truly go out and they look at the different, well, first they look at the functions being performed by the employees here. Let's take Susan, for example. Susan technically is our city secretary, but I assure you she does a lot more here lately. Instead of city secretary work, she's doing finance director work. She's also doing HR director work. So we're getting the benefit of having finance, HR, and city secretary all in one employee, but we have her labeled as just city secretary. So when a consultant comes in and does that study, they look at those duties and then they compare to what percentage of her duties are being performed for finance versus HR versus city secretary, so that they can then come back and do a true assessment as to where she should be. I've highlighted the column that says mid in the middle because that's typically the market. That's what you should be targeting to try and have your employees being paid at the mid range, okay? You definitely don't want to hire employees though that are making less than the minimum range, and you don't want to have employees making more than the maximum range. But what are those ranges and how should they be set? Well, that's what a salary survey will help you do, number one. Helps you determine where the minimum, the mid, and the maximum rate should be for each one of the positions, and even future positions. Like at some point, we probably are going to need to have a finance director. So what should we be looking at paying a finance director to do finances for the city of New Fairview, right? Where should the minimum, mid, and maximum be? So the consultant can do that for us as well. But more importantly, they can bring what's called a compensation plan for the council to adopt. A compensation plan is just what it says. It's a plan on the compensation, and it puts all the different positions in the city in certain bandwidths. So you could also have different roles. Like, for example, we have a permit tech that's doing permitting for development, but you also have a maintenance tech one, and they could be on the same bandwidth. Maybe they're on bandwidth D. So their minimum, mid, and maximum is going to be identical, even though they perform different functions for the city, right? That's what's included in a compensation plan. It also helps the council understand where their employees are located and what to start looking for in future budgets to make sure that you are following your plan. These are particularly critical once you start public safety, because police and fire require typically step plans, and you definitely want to make sure you have a compensation plan before you get into a step plan situation. Luckily, we're not there yet, but we will be in a few years, I would imagine. So right now, based on the research that she did, there were like 3 or 4 cities that were the only ones that we were able to find that had a minimum, mid, and maximum for those positions. And so that's where you can see where they fall. The column says New Fairview is where those employees are going to, currently are. The 5% COLA is, if we did a 5% on next year's budget, that's where they would fall for next year. And the far right column that's in yellow would be the difference between what a 5% COLA will give that person versus what the midpoint, just by a quick search, shows us it would be. So, unless you direct me otherwise, I'm going to be looking at trying to see if I can do a 5% COLA to the employees. But if you want me to, I can go ahead and start looking at trying to adjust some of the differences for some of those employees that have larger gaps compared to others.
I mean, I think as far as the differences, I'd like to get more information if we're going to decide to go that route, because 3 cities isn't really a good indicator of what their range is going to be. And what cities were they? Are they equivalent to our size? Are they close to the area? Like, I mean, obviously Dallas is going to pay.
No. They're here, Denton County, Wise County were the only cities we.
No, like I said, but even Denton or some of those cities like that have more revenue, more money, so they're able to pay more. So I'd like to get a fair comparison than just using 3 cities based off of this.
So really what might be a good idea is if we just do a COLA for this next fiscal year, but we put in the budget to do a true compensation salary survey comp plan, and then that way you'll have the information that you're asking for.
What is the COLA recommendation for this year?
5% is what I'm recommending. That's what's in that
I
column.
know what you recommended, but that's usually, the COLA is usually higher than that.
Well, I've been averaging about a 5% COLA.
I know that's what we've been putting in our annual, but I don't know.
Well, as you can see, with a 5% COLA, yeah, we're still kind of in the, at least everybody's above the minimum.
I'm not getting 5.
5's pretty high.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm getting yet this year,
You won't make
there's
at least
some
what
years
you
you
made
only
last
get
year.
3.
You don't stay above cost of living.
No, I think we're only-
5% increase is not less than you're making
I don't think
last
we're questioning Nicole, we're just saying like that's 5 is big.
It's
3.8.
I mean, is it just 5 across the board?
3.8 to 4.7,
Okay.
depending on
So
geographic
it's more than
location.
fair. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Everywhere I've worked, it's been 5 is the maximum, 3 is the standard,
Yeah.
and I mean it's all based off of a review that you get that has measurable metrics that you either meet, exceed, or don't meet. I guess.
And a COLA shouldn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, COLA is just a cost of living
That's-
Well, I
adjustment.
understand, but I mean,
That's separate.
You can add an evaluation raise to the COLA, but COLA's different than.
no, it is different. But I mean, I know for us at the county level, we don't get a standard 5% raise every year as a cost of
No,
living
we
increase.
get whatever they negotiate at the commissioner's court.
And I know everything's not based off of what the county pays out, but I don't think a 5% cost of living increase is standard everywhere every year.
No, I think last year Denton County, we got 7%. But
So
it
again,
changes every year.
Well, there's a federal recommended COLA, and that's generally what you go by. That's my question. What is the
Yeah, what is the
recommended
current
COLA?
inflation COLA rate?
So that you stay even, at least even, or maybe a step ahead of cost of living. So, and it should be, yeah, it should be readily available.
I'm good with doing the COLA, and we can look next year for the survey. I don't know.
I really don't want to spend on a survey right now. I would rather wait until we're looking at having police and fire, just because, I mean, if we're going to do the COLA, I think a COLA, you know, that would be fair. I don't really want to spend 10,000 just to have somebody come in here and say, well, you need to be paying in these mid ranges and we just can't afford that right now.
Well,
Some of those.
the point is not that you can afford it, the point is you're identifying where you should be.
But I don't want
and
to
it gives you a
also lock
goal
in.
to shoot for.
I understand. I just don't want to be locked in the future either because,
4.7.
you know, and then I feel like we're going to have to do the study again once we do get the police and fire.
Is that
So
what you come with?
that's just my opinion. I think that we should probably focus on the COLA and.
So when we get police and fire, put everybody on a step?
No, I wouldn't
Do
recommend that
a-
right off the bat.
Do a survey then.
I got
Yeah.
But, I mean, I also don't think that even if we just bump everybody up to the mid-range, we can't afford to do that. right now.
No, it's not. And actually, again, if you look at the 5% COLA numbers and you look at the minimum, a lot of the employees are at least above the minimum. There's some that are not, but they're not so far away that when we finally do a salary survey and hopefully put a comp plan together, they're not going to be so far off that it's going to be difficult to bring some up to at least minimum, preferably they'll be closer between minimum and midpoint.
I'm the one that requested this, and I did because we're a small organization and our employees do many different things, many responsibilities, and they excel at it, and would be lost without their able to cross-utilize as they do. So they are giving us a tremendous benefit to the services they provide the city by being able to work across many variables of the situation. They find a way, they do it, and they work together as a team. And I feel like we're getting a deal. So I wanted to see how we compare to the other cities. I really don't want to spend $10,000 either at this point, but I would like to see us do COLA and maybe even a step or two more, say a couple of percents, just to show our appreciation for all the work that they do to make everything work the way it's supposed to, because we're very small and they do a lot. And I'm very proud of them, and I want them to know that. And the best way that I've seen in my jobs is to show appreciation. It's not a pizza dinner or a little gift. It's showed in the paycheck.
So,
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Realistically, increases in paycheck will make someone happy for about 3 months, and then you get used to that, and then you want more money. So I disagree with you. There's actually been studies that prove that financial incentives aren't always what make people happy. Where I don't disagree that, you know, we want to, you know, go with increases, but that is not the main focus of people. What their happiness is their salary necessarily.
I disagree.
Well, there's a study, so you can disagree if you want, but they did a federal
I
study.
guarantee you that's not real world.
So
real world is
It's
you
not
take
real
care of
world.
your people.
I mean, there's a federal study that they did across the United States that proved that fact.
Well, our people may not be happy with their salary. They always want to do better. I agree with that part of the study. But as leaders of an organization, whether it be a private or public organization, you show your appreciation towards your people by a financial increase.
I mean, a salary is an important part of your job because everybody works for money. But job satisfaction isn't based off.
I didn't say job satisfaction. I said appreciation for what they do.
Well, it's the same thing.
No, it's not. We're trying to show that we appreciate what they do, and they work very hard, and they don't complain, and they get the job done.
I'm not saying that they don't work hard.
And show your appreciation. Give them some extra money.
So what I'll say is this, in our business, like what I want to know before I make the decision, like what's the tax rate going to be? Because to me, it's like I'm looking at the budget. How much can I afford to give my employees more? I value y'all, I value my employees, but at the end of the day, like I want to know like how's this going to reflect to the community, the citizens? Like how much percent are we talking about here? If you're talking 5 and then some, and then people's taxes are going up, that's not going to land well. So we need to think about what we're doing, and I would like to know what that average COLA rate was nationwide, and make some data-driven decisions here before we go, all in.
So let me answer that question for you, because obviously that's also something we're tracking based on estimates that we think we're going to bring in for everything from sales tax and franchise fees for next year. The tax rate obviously is a big unknown, because until you get the tax rolls, which won't be due until July 25th under state law, and we just heard from Denton County,
They're not going to release
they're not going to release the final rolls. They're just going to give you their best guess estimate, their WAG. That's all they're going to give you. And so that's what we're going to have to put into the TNT form I was telling you about. That 55-cent calculation is the WAG number that we get from. Luckily, Denton County is not as big as the Weiss County number, but I don't have full faith that Weiss County CAD is going to have that number either.
Listen, I have
So,
no faith in them right now.
if we kept the tax rate right now still at the 31 cents, which is what we're at now, we are looking at bringing in about $678,000 in property tax compared to the $618 for the current year that we're in, okay? And then when you add in the projected sales tax, projected franchise permits, fines and fees, all of that, you're looking at about $2.99 million in revenues. And right now we're looking at about $3,039 in expenditures. So I'm off by about $46,000, which is just a matter of moving some numbers around. So we're still okay.
We took 25,000 of that, so.
Sir?
We took 25,000 of that off.
Oh, well, yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, I'm a little closer now, right?
So we're
Yeah.
only
We took
25,000.
25,000 off of that,
Off
yeah.
budget.
So we're close. I mean, it's just a matter of here tweaking a few numbers here and there.
And plus the numbers,
it's
real
not like
numbers they usually give us are higher anyway.
for Denton County, yes, sir.
What
But
do you
for
mean
Weiss
by that?
County, it's typically lower. Remember
Oh, is
that
that
first
right?
chart? Yes, sir.
Also,
I showed you,
the
yeah.
other way around.
Yeah,
The-
Weiss County's lower. Denton County's-
What they give us, the numbers they give us in July, it's usually Denton County's way off and Wise County's way off the other way.
Okay.
Denton County does not count anything under protest.
But
So
not-
if 20% of their homes in our city are under protest, they don't even count that number.
Okay, so thank you for that. That makes me feel a lot better.
Sure. Yeah, we just haven't gotten to that discussion.
The only other answer is, like, if I was a citizen, I want to know, what is the average COLA? Like, what's the inflation rate? What's the average COLA? Are we being fair for,
The feds won't release that till mid-October, I just read. They estimate it 3.8 to 4.7.
Is that what you got?
And it says, Social Security Administration will release in mid-October. Well, that's.
After everybody's budget is in?
Yes, that's after we start a new budget.
That's after everybody's budget.
Yes, even your own.
My personal opinion is I'm all for giving COLA and I'm all for giving max COLA. But if we're talking about going above and beyond and doing actual raises, for me, that's a per person basis.
I agree.
We need to evaluate each person and base that on their actual performance rather than a blanket.
Because we get evaluations if we're gonna get anything more.
But I'm all for max COLA.
I'm not really for the evaluation thing, because you get resentment with that small organization.
I understand that, but at the same time, it's like not everyone performs at the same rate. And if you and I are working the same job and you're doing better than me and we get the same raise, that also presents resentment.
Now I got resentment, I'm not gonna help you next time.
Exactly.
I mean, but I also look at it the other way. Like, if you have measurable goals that they know what they have to hit, and then there's no surprise. So if you go, I gotta do 5 things in a week, and you do 3, you obviously aren't meeting that standard. So if there's measurable goals, and it helps them to understand this is what's expected of me. So there's no surprises. So I don't think it breeds resentment when you say, I need you to do these 5 things, and you say, I can only do 2, then you're not meeting the standard. And
Especially if somebody else in the building
is
can
doing
do all
something.
5.
Yeah.
Well, again, small organization, and we have to put trust in our
I don't think
administrator and city secretary to manage the personnel on how they are able to accomplish their
I've
task.
actually found in today's work environment that people get really butthurt about their evals.
Yes.
I mean, very, very much so. Like, if they don't get all fives, I mean, they want to quit their job. So,
First off, only God gets 5.
yeah, well, that's what you're,
Same,
that's,
sister, same.
and that's how they tell you to score them. I mean, if they're getting fives, they should be promoted. But when people get threes, it doesn't land well with them, especially the younger generation. It's,
The ones that grew up getting trophies
Yeah.
just for showing up, they need to get over that.
I agree, but if you tell them, look, you have to do this to get a 3, you have to do this to get a 5.
What do you
And
think?
they can be mad about it, but if they didn't do it, then they shouldn't expect a 5. So that's why you make measurable goals that they know what they have.
I think, again, we're getting into the administration of the personnel. I think that's their job. They know how to do it very well. And I don't think that we need to be going in and having performance-based wage increases. That's not the intent of this original conversation. It was, are we paying to a standard that is fair for what surrounding cities are, and what can we do financially, salary-wise, to demonstrate our appreciation for all the hard work and dedication that obviously they do on a day-to-day basis. That was my intent, and I was hoping that the council would see that. I may not have communicated that well, but hoping that, you know, there'd be a little consensus of that. What can we do to for our employees?
Also, I think we do need to get to a point where each job should have an expected minimum or maximum salary.
Well, that's the cost of $10,000.
Yeah, because when that goes, when we go to start hiring.
But the $10,000 is only a drop in the bucket compared to what the raises would be.
yeah, when your consultant comes back with crazy rates, then
According to these numbers that they got, $41,000 is the raises
I
that
know
we
that's
have.
$10,000, so well now we don't have the money for the raises. So it's a catch-22.
well, can we start with the COLA? I mean, are we good with the COLA?
Yeah, I'll go with COLA.
Yeah, let's start with that, but can we
I said that an hour ago.
bump it up 1% over COLA?
Well, it is already 1% if it's 3.8.
Asking too much to go to 6%?
I would say 5 is max for sure for me.
I mean, if the max federal recommendation is 4.7, 5 is still over max recommendation.
Yeah,
So
it's
I-
still technically more than inflation.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they wanted this table about, I think, last year, so,
It's 3.8 to 4.7, said.
yeah, but doesn't, if
Well,
max is
There'll
4.7.
be two codes. There'll be one that, Social Security come out with 2. One will be the one they pay, and then there'll be one that's much higher that they expect everyone else to pay.
Yeah.
Because on your Social Security, you're gonna get a 3.8, but the rest of the world should get a 4.7, is what they're gonna say.
Right.
Yeah, because they're gonna shortchange
The
the,
Medicare, or the
Yeah.
Social Security people.
they're gonna shortchange Social Security. But they won't release that till October because the inflation rate won't come out until September.
Well, I believe it is our responsibility to take care of our employees, so to give them COLA is just our responsibility.
Agreed.
What can we do to go above and beyond to show them that, wow, y'all run this city and we appreciate what you do for us?
In all honesty, that's a really in-depth conversation
Yeah.
that I don't think we have the time or the
It's
brain
kind
power
of
for
late,
tonight.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is,
10:30.
I know it's 10:30, but then let's have it another day then.
Agreed.
Because this is July and we have a month to get that organized.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I am completely open to the conversation, but
good.
I bet it's 3 o'clock this morning. I don't have
Oh.
brain power for it tonight.
And see, I know you're retired, so you don't have to worry about getting up.
You're right.
The only person here that doesn't want to go home right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Does not have to get
We
up.
can stay here until 1 o'clock in the morning and have this
We've been out
conversation.
here 9:30, but I'm still working. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree 5% COLA is good to go.
I agree.
Let's continue the conversation.
And
Can
we
we-
can talk about
can we
raises later.
continue? Okay, thank you.
And no for the salary.
Please, no.
Right, not
Not
this time.
All right. The budget calendar, just to remind you, the dates, are there any dates on there for sure, you know, Mayor, you already said you're missing which one?
August the 18th.
Okay, so Mayor's out on the 18th,
I'm out on the 20th.
okay? That's not one of those, okay?
I don't think I should be gone on it.
Okay. All right, then next page. I believe that's it.
Yep.
All right,
I think we've asked all the questions we have.
so we will discuss other departments at the next workshop. We got more, and I'll hopefully have some more refined numbers. I know I've got to you back some additional information on certain things. We'll try and come back with more information on the speed limit signs. We're still looking at body camera costs that you have to look into.
Thank you.
We've got some special revenue funds we're still trying to refine, so we've got still some work to bring back to you guys. And then we'll continue to refine as we refine the water, wastewater, and solid waste funds. We'll continue to bring those back to you, okay? Did I miss anything? Okay, that's all we have, Mayor.
Yay.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
I third week.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time tonight. Appreciate it. Oh, and there's leftovers. Please take some home for lunch.